Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for joining me. We got a special Monday night stream and an even more special guest. Everybody, welcome Lala Andrews. Lala, welcome back. How are you doing?
Hey guys, nice to see you all again. Hello, hello.
Well, we've grown a little bit since the last time you were here. So a lot of these people are probably seeing you for the first time. So why don't you introduce yourself?
Okay, for sure. Yeah, my name is Lala. You can find me on Instagram, mostly Lala the Jedi. And I podcast as well with New Black America. That is a group that myself and Carmen JC founded after I had worked with Blexit for 2 years, both for a volunteer. I was the state director for Arizona for a year, and then I got hired on full time at Turning Point and worked as a ballot chaser for Turning Point Action for the Trump campaign 2024, and was part of that ground effort to get him elected. And then I switched over to Turning Point USA and worked as a social media administrator for Blexit in 2025. So I was there and worked there and actually found out live that Charlie had gotten shot. If he got shot now at this point, but I found out live before it even hit the news that happened. So ever since then, I stayed at Turning Point after that for about a month and a half after that. But then I ended up quitting and stepping down from my position and starting New Black America with Carmen JC, which I am now doing content for. I was just actually filming with her earlier. And we were talking about Mamdani, and I think I brought that up in the beginning of the chat. But yeah, so that's me right now. I don't know what else to say. I'm a wife. I live out here in Phoenix, and I'm originally from Connecticut. And I haven't
Right on the other side of the sound.
Right on the other side of the sound. We were just talking about that. I grew up on Long Island Sound, and I haven't worked at Turning Point now since November 2025. So
now, can I ask you a semi-sarcastic question?
Yeah.
Because I mean, we know each other. Like I think by now, like the first time that you came on and we were talking, like I was like, I don't want to say walking on eggshells, but I tried my best to be like very sensitive about everything, especially because you didn't like really know me as well as I think you do now at this point.
Yeah.
So today, the first time I was like really trying to like Tucker Carlson it and be like really professional and serious. But now that we know each other a little bit better, I was hoping that maybe I could ask a couple of more questions and maybe show some more of my. No, probably not. I'm just hoping I don't piss you off.
No, you won't. You're cool. I know that your intentions are good now. I think the last time we sat down, I was a little hard on you too. I pushed back on you too. Like, hey, are you one of these like motherfuckers out here that are just grifting, or do you actually care what happened? I think, we had that conversation too. And through the last couple months, I think we were able to reassure each other that this is, we're doing it more so because we're really genuinely curious what happened to Charlie,
I know. And people thought I was crazy. They're like, you have somebody that knew Charlie Kirk, that knows a lot of these people involved, and you have them coming on your show and you're titling it about is like whatever I said that day, the title, like it wasn't even about Charlie. It was, I think I edited it later, but like in the beginning, it was like something MAGA, like I didn't like blow up Charlie on the thumbnail and all that. Like I was trying to be like as sensitive and professional and make it all about you and make sure that you especially knew that I wasn't just trying to grift. And we had a really good conversation. And you said a couple of controversial things that I did not agree with at the time. Some of it I still necessarily don't. But when I mention these people, I always mention that, hey, I know somebody, I think this, I've heard this, but I also know somebody, I met someone that knows this person and said that. And I mean, I think anybody, to everybody out there, whenever I say that there's somebody, I'm sorry, I'm going to put you on the spot right now. But whenever I reference Brian Harpole and I say that I know somebody that thinks, he wasn't as bad of a guy as a lot of people think, I'm referring to you.
Yeah. Look, I'm not going to create like a false perception of proximity with Brian Harple. Like, you know, he was security, so he was at every event that I went to for 2 years, you know. And when you start seeing someone, because I was also in Phoenix, I was a Phoenix chapter. I live in Phoenix, like, so I would go to a lot of also the local events Turning Point had too, which were way more frequent than, you know, say the AmFest once a year, like the, you know, every 6 months there's a conference that all the Turning Point people go to. Like, because I lived in Phoenix, I went to like all the Turning Point events that were out here too, the coalition events, the USA Freedom Night events that were once a month. So when you go to these events all the time and you see, you know, this same security all the time, you get familiar with them. So Brian Harple was just one of those people that were friendly, you know, and it was a familiar face. So like we would just, you know, sometimes we'd see each other and just shoot the shit or whatever. But like, it's not like I have some like deep understanding of him. He was just like a cool person, a familiar face, like at events that I would, you know, just say what's up to when I'd see him and stuff.
I know it's got to be so surreal. Like, you know, you work there, you make friends, you have all these interactions with all these different people, and then all of a sudden something like this happens where somebody that you worked for and really respected and looked up to, you know, is tragically assassinated.
Yeah.
And then it's like you have this big, you know, conspiracy theory and all these different allegations and accusations and all this footage. And it's like, you know a lot of these people. So like, like you see everything from a completely different lens than like probably anybody.
I do see things. I think I do have a different perspective than a lot of the narratives that I see online, only because like, you know, you'll watch Barron or you'll watch Candace and they'll drop a name of somebody, but then it's like Marcus Wada, for instance. Like I remember Candace had a couple episodes where she went into Marcus Wada and she was saying like how he used to deal arms and he's like this like shadowy figure that's inside Turning Point or whatever. But like Marcus Wada is the farthest thing from a shadowy figure. Like I was actually on the phone with Marcus when we both found out, when he found out that he died. Not the phone. I was on a call like this, like a Zoom call. We were having a meeting about a project we were going to do actually the day after on the 11th. And me, Marcus, and his senior manager were actually on the phone, and we were planning out like this project. We were actually going to shoot a music video, and that was something that we were working on in the background. And Marcus looks down at his phone and finds out that Charlie got shot. He found out right there, just like I did, and I saw his reaction. He freaked out. He like pushed his laptop and he was like, what the fuck? And like started crying. And it was like, he was like, I gotta go right now. And then he was like logged off. I don't even think he logged off, actually. I think he just stormed out of the office and left it on. And I was just left on with the, like his chair spinning, actually. So Marcus didn't know. And to imply that he was like part of this, like calculated conspiracy cabal at Turning Point to take down Charlie, like it's just not true. The arms thing is true, but everybody that went to the Turning Point knew about it, including Charlie. Actually, Dan Flood had no idea that and I'm probably saying too much, but you know, on Marcus's first day at Turning Point, this is a story that he tells, and this is like, you know, Turning Point lore. When Marcus's first day, like Marina, who is the executive marketing director or chief of executive marketing, and Charlie, they already knew about Marcus's background in arms dealing or whatever, like way before even Dan Flood did. Dan Flood on the first day of meeting Marcus was like, wait, hold up, Charlie, do you know like what this guy's freaking rap sheet is? And Charlie was like, yeah, I do. Send him to my office. So like this idea that Charlie had no idea about these people that were at Turning Point that he hired is ridiculous.
Yeah, I said that there was no way. I said that there was no way. And, you know, I was actually talking to somebody about this recently that said, well, you know, if he knew all these people were like this, then that means, you know, he was probably like that too. And I said, not necessarily. It's like, you know, because if Charlie really wanted to make change and he saw how bad the system was, like he's going to do what he has to do. Like he's going to have to integrate with these people. He's going to, you know what I mean? Like,
it's not even
like
integrate
DC,
with these people. It's like, it's like,
No. When I say these people, I'm not even referring to TPUSA. I'm saying politics in general, media in
oh, right.
general. Yeah, like if you're going to get into that field, like you're going to need the right people that are going to be able to help you navigate that. And sometimes it's might not be all, you might get some characters in there. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think the point that I was trying to make when it came to that like big soliloquy that I just did about Marcus is that, it's easy because a lot of people don't know these people. So like you hear some narrative about coming from someone that you trust and someone that's a good communicator like Candace. And don't get me wrong, like I do have a special place in my heart for Candace. Like I dedicated 2 years of my life to Blexit, which is her brainchild. And she did pass the baton a couple years back over to Charlie, who shepherded that mission up until, it just imploded. But so I do have love for Candace, don't get me wrong, but, she's not every single thing that she says is completely accurate. And I mean, I might get some shit from her community for that, but like, that doesn't mean everything she says isn't accurate. But it just means that like, when you ask me the question, it must be crazy being on the internet and hearing all these narratives that aren't all the way true, or that they're like skewed, and that must affect me because I also went to UVU personally. Like I was a student at Utah Valley University like 10 years ago. And so it is like pretty close to home and to me. It is kind of like frustrating because, these are people that I do know and trust. Like Marcus has invited me to his church multiple times. Like I actually went to his church once. I have nothing but good things to say about him. He's like my favorite person at Turning Point. And, he has a family, he has a wife, and he has young children that like he has really tried to turn his life around. And so for people like Candace to create this like false narrative surrounding Marcus to imply that he's like somehow related to like the conspiracy is just patently wrong. So
Is that what she did though?
She did. She basically said that there's all these people at Turning Point that are like part of Eastern European like arms trafficking and orphanages. Like they're all managing orphanages. So there must be some connection between all these people that are being hired at Turning Point and this like military orphan apparatus that she's trying to tie Tyler and Erika into. And I mean, I feel like these are separate, like she's trying to say that it's all one thing and that it's not a coincidence that like people like Marcus, who spent some time like before he found Christ and before he found the church, he spent some time out in the not the Middle East, I'm sorry, Eastern Europe. He spent some time out there. He's like, because he's honest and upfront about his history selling arms out there. She's saying, I guess somebody had wrote her that in a tip because Marcus tells everybody it's not like a secret what Marcus was doing in Eastern Europe. But she's saying that because some person at Turning Point wrote her a tip that this must mean that he's connected with the orphanages and Erika Kirk and Tyler Boyer and all this stuff is like an Eastern European like con job that has now transferred over to Turning Point. And she's trying to imply that these people were like planted into Turning Point to infiltrate the faith department. And it was all unbeknownst to Charlie, and he had no idea who he was surrounded by, and that basically Candace is the only person that Charlie could trust. And she's trying to spin this like narrative that she's like Charlie's best friend and everybody else hated him and sold him out and are all a part of this like intricate operation from Eastern Europe that has infiltrated Turning Point's faith department. And that's basically the narrative that she's trying to spin. And I'm not saying that there's nothing to the orphanages. I think that Erika needs to answer for that. There's a lot of stuff Erika needs to answer for. Actually, I would like to spend more time kind of talking about her and how shady the evidentiary hearing is actually.
Believe me, I think that a lot of people watching right now would love to hear what you have to say about her and the evidentiary hearing. But real quick, can I just like, I just want to tell you how I took what you just said, and then you just confirm, correct. This way it gives the proper context. So you're saying that there are multiple individuals that were connected or affiliated with TPUSA that have different backgrounds, whether it be military or, some type of,
That's
history in foreign nations. No, but but that you're saying that if there are multiple, like everybody knows that Erika Kirk with the Romanian Angels, and that you're saying this other individual, Marcus, who I haven't really looked in myself. I wish I did so I could like.
Candace did 2 shows, not about Marcus, but she dedicated like 2 segments to Marcus, and basically like she basically exposed his past for dealing arms in Eastern Europe, which he did. But what she left out was that Charlie knew this and actually hired him and actually had to tell Dan Flood to basically sit down and get out of the way. And like, he wants this guy hired because Marcus was doing contracting work before he was actually hired on officially with Turning Point, like for years before. And Charlie knew him very well, was a friend of his, and knew about his backstory, and him and Marina hired him on. So that's what I'm trying to say, is that this is because you asked me a question about like the internet personalities and podcasters that are talking about, you know, the narrative and the conspiracy surrounding Turning Point. And I gave Marcus up as an example of how it's hard for me to believe everything that she's saying, because I actually know these people personally, and with Marcus specifically, because she was trying to connect him to this conspiracy, alluding to the fact that his past in Eastern Europe must mean that him and Erika Kirk knew each other because she was in Romania with the Romanian Angels. So this must be an organized trafficking scheme that has infiltrated Turning Point. So my response to that is, well, I just know that that's not true, because I know for a fact that Charlie knew about Marcus's past before even Dan Flood did, because Dan Flood was like, who the fuck is this guy? I'm not letting him into the building. And so he beeped Marina, and he paged Marina and Charlie, and they were like, yeah, he's with us. Like, we know. Calm down, Dan. You know what I'm saying?
You mind if I play devil's advocate for a minute?
Yeah.
Yes, you mind? You don't want me to?
No, I don't mind.
No. So, but I just want to play devil's advocate, because I understand what you're saying. But I mean, we've all heard the allegations and rumors about Erika Kirk with Romanian Angels, and it's definitely very shady. I've done a lot of research into Romania and how all those NGOs started coming about. And it was 1998 with Bill Clinton. He passed some legislation and he basically opened it up. And there was a lot of shady things that was going on over there. You've got Greg Laurie, who was there the first year, who's now affiliated with Erika Kirk. You have the Franz Vase with Romanian Angels. You had Jeffrey Epstein. You have the Clinton Foundation. So, like, it's not like it's like a reach to say that you want to investigate Erika Kirk for the Romanian Angels. And with that said, if there are other individuals that have anything, like maybe they're not connected, maybe they're not affiliated, but I don't think you could really hold it against Candace for looking into it. You know what I mean?
I just saw a comment that said, well, Candace knows the people at Turning Point as well. Yes, but for one, Candace hadn't officially been a part of Turning Point since she left and went to the Daily Wire. Okay. And that's another whole thing, because if you really want to get it, I'm not going to really put Candace on Front Street because of my respect for Blexit and my respect for just the Turning Point family and apparatus. I know she hates that word, but whether she likes it or not, she's part of it. And, you know, I just feel like sometimes family business is just left some family business. So I'm not going to put her on Front Street of what I know about Candace and her relationship with Turning Point and Blexit and how she left. But the fact of the matter is, at least since June of 2024, Candace had completely been detached from Blexit. The last time she spoke at an event, with Turning Point, the last time she spoke at an event was June 2024 at the People's Convention. So, I mean, she went like a year and a half where she like really wasn't part of it at all. And Charlie really had to fight to get her to be there, and even had to fight to keep Blexit there because of Candace's like beef with the donors. So there's a lot more to the story, and Candace has reason to be pissed off, I'm sure, in her own right. And I don't personally know Candace. I came after she left, but there's a lot more to the story there, you know? And
well, I think that the way the investigation and everything with Charlie Kirk being assassinated and how everything's played out, everybody has a reason to be pissed off, especially people close, and yourself included. I'm not trying to minimize you in that either.
But
you know,
Candace had the option to stay, and she didn't. That's all I'll say about that. Like, she could have been there, and she wasn't. She left, and she left Blexit, and she deserted all of us. So, you know, she could be mad now. But, you know, whatever. I shouldn't have even said that on live. But going back to your point about Erika Kirk and the Romanian Angels, I think that it's totally fair to press that question about Next Top management, about their connection with Jeffrey Epstein, and why were Jeffrey Epstein associates like even at Next Top Model Management during the time that Erika worked there, and why hasn't she come forward and addressed any of those questions? I think the Next Top management piece to all of this, especially with their relationship with Jean-Luc Brunel in France.
There are a lot of other individuals that are not with us anymore that are in that same type of timeline cluster, I'll just say. And I'll also say, as far as that goes, we're talking about Jeffrey Epstein. I've done more research into that than anybody else. And I'm telling you, Romania was a hub. And if you just look at where it is on the map, 1998, when Bill Clinton passed that legislation, which was 2 years after the Monica Lewinsky scandal, a couple years after Jeffrey Epstein was there 17 times, it was like the floodgates opened. And there were a lot of NGOs, some of which are connected to donors that were, affiliated in all this mess. I'm not going to say TPUSA specifically, but like just this whole donor class, and it's just insane that this hasn't really been cracked open.
No, I mean, that
a lot of
definitely...
these NGOs, hold on, let me just finish because I almost lost my train of thought and I got it. A lot of these NGOs that went out there were supposed to be for anti-trafficking. And a lot of these NGOs that were supposed to be there for anti-trafficking are in the files going back and forth with Epstein with prices for people. And like, I've done investigations into the flight routes and everything, like allegedly, in my opinion, there were a lot of women that were getting trafficked and they were getting flown into, Teterboro Airport in New Jersey. And I think that Ghislaine Maxwell with the helicopter flying, whatever. It's a whole thing. I'll map it out for you one of these days. But that's why. And I didn't even think it was going to go here. But it's just because, the way that when you brought up the whole thing with Marcus, like, I understand why Candace went. Like, even if she's wrong about that, like, there is enough smoke there that we can acknowledge a fire. So if there's one person that's not really affiliated, and then I see both sides of the argument.
She should have ran down that rabbit hole and confirmed that Charlie had no idea that Marcus had his past that he had before she tried to imply that like this whole thing conspiracy was happening behind Charlie's back and he had no idea and he was just like a deer in headlights and he was just this innocent dove that was able to be manipulated. Like, I feel like that speaks to like the questioning of Charlie's masculinity, like as if he didn't have the apparatus around him to do deep background checks on every single person that worked at Turning Point. She knows that there's a deep background check on every single person that works at Turning Point. I got a background check at Turning Point. So, you know what I'm saying? It's hard for me to believe that Charlie, and I'm not saying like every single person, like I'm sure. And I had a dream a week before Charlie died. There's two people that could tell you this. My mother can tell you this. My husband can tell you this. Two people that I work with at Blex that can tell you this because I told them the dream the day after. And then a week after Charlie died, I had a really dark dream the week before Charlie died that I'm not even going to say the dream because it's really dark. I can tell you offline. I think I have told you offline.
Yeah, you told me.
So like, it's not like beyond me to think that it's like obvious. The neocons would definitely want to infiltrate Turning Point because the neocons hated Charlie. And honestly, my mind first when he got shot or when he got murdered, like I automatically thought it was the neocons because I went to SAS and I saw what happened when Tucker took the stage. And, I just saw him and his rhetoric. It's not even his rhetoric, but the event that he was hosting at SAS, like everybody else in the base's rhetoric was shifting on Israel. So like I saw what was going on and I knew that they weren't going to let that stand for much longer, that the neocon Zionists were absolutely...
Didn't you say that Charlie was like really stressed that day, that he was like looking at his phone? Like, was that you that told me that? Or was that somebody else?
Yeah.
He was looking at his phone and it was getting blown up and like, you could just see that he was like really frustrated.
Yeah. And the crazy thing is, I told you that how long ago? And then this like leak, this JD Vance, like situation room leak drops on like a couple weeks ago. And it said that he had a meeting on the 17th. He called this emergency meeting in the situation room. And that he was trying to figure out how to contain the narrative around Epstein because it's going to threaten to break the right in the coalition, the MAGA coalition, but that he was the most frantic about it. JD Vance was. And then on the 18th, the next day, Candace Owens reported that Turning Point had reached out to UVU to schedule the event. So my question would be if there was a call that went out from the White House to Turning Point between the time that JD Vance held his meeting in the Situation Room and whoever reached out to UVU to get that.
Didn't it come out? I think if it did, I'm sure Candace covered it. Didn't it come out recently that Charlie got a call from Trump about the Epstein files?
So it came out in that article. Right. So that's what the point I was making, that it came out in that article that on that day, I think it was the day after, they said on the 12th, I believe. I put it in a timeline, actually.
You know, it's funny because last night I was live and I pulled up a random interview from Charlie. I was looking for one, and then I pulled up another one that I had never seen before. It was with what was his name? Mark Harperin, I believe. And I remember the date. It was July 10th. It was July 10th. And Mark Harperin, if that's his name, whatever, he was saying because they were talking about Epstein, the files, and how like it actually has the potential to break MAGA. That MAGA, you know, like in the past, they get mad at Trump and they forgive him. And they're like, this might be the one that there might not be any going back from this. And it was the other guy, Mark, that said, you know what I think we should do? What would be a good idea? If you got like 10 or 12 young conservatives to speak their mind about the files and why they're passionate about it and have Trump hear it, and you know, maybe he'll do something about it, maybe he'll speak up. And Charlie's like, well, that's a great idea, I love that idea. You know, like I'm, you know, maybe not verbatim, but I could find the clip if you want. But like that was July 10th. You know,
look,
could you imagine sorry,
I was just going to say, like, there's also this narrative that Charlie was turning on Israel, and that's also a huge part of Candace and Barron's like narrative. And I'm not trying to come on here to like trying to take down Barron. I think the work that they're doing is great. Like I'm going to be.
I hope not. Barron's a very good friend of the channel.
No, I think that the work that they're doing is great, and I'm not like a part of this coalition that thinks that like we need to call them demons and shut them down and shut their investigation down. Not at all. I'm just saying like when they get it wrong, they get it wrong, and I'm not going to be part of another cult that like thinks everything that they say is absolutely right, because it isn't.
Can you imagine if they weren't doing what they were doing, and that we just
I'm happy that
the mainstream media and all these other content creators. Yeah. I'm not going to call names and feds and shills and all that. You know, I've been doing enough of that lately. But you know, there are a lot of content creators that are pushing the narrative for TPUSA. And you know, one thing that came out a couple months ago, I think it was, I don't know if it was before or after when you came on, but it was and shout out to Danks. My boy Danks broke the story about Salem Media and how Bradley Pascal, right after Charlie died, became a registered foreign agent for Israel, pretty much on paper. It was like 2 weeks after Charlie died. And he was the chief strategic officer for Salem Media, where Donald Trump, yes, and Donald Trump Jr. owns stock in the company. And Salem Media is the distributor for the Charlie Kirk show, Brandon Tatum, and multiple other individuals.
Larry Elder. This is what I'm saying with the narrative that like Charlie was just completely oblivious and just didn't have the like mental aptitude to know exactly like who was distributing his podcast. Like, granted, Brad Pascal had registered after Charlie died to Salem Media, and who knows if that was part of it. You know, was Charlie not wanting to be affiliated? But Salem Media had been operating as like a non-official, like foreign agent for years. Like
a non-official, yeah. And then the second you know, Charlie's out of the way, all of a sudden the ink dries.
Well, that's what I'm saying. It's like, you don't think Charlie knew like what the politics were of the people that were distributing his
I think Charlie knew, and I think that's why Charlie said if he ever turned on him that he was going to get killed.
This is the point that I'm trying to say, is that like what the bigger conversation is missing is that, and maybe Candace is missing this too, because it might like shatter what she's like actually thinks is going on here with Charlie. But remember, Charlie found Candace and hired Candace, right? Candace didn't find Charlie. So Charlie was already part of this apparatus before Candace was even part of the picture. And so this apparatus that Charlie was a part of found Candace And really, you even hear Candace admit this on her interview with Anna Kasparian when she said that, like, no, she absolutely, for sure, in the beginning of her career was kind of like picked as a plant to go against and to speak, against BLM, and for the, the conservative perspective, to speak against this, like, Black Lives Matter, and that's what she was, and that's what she was doing, and that's what she was hired to do, and that's what Blexit was created to do, to fight against the BLM indoctrination and to fight against DEI. And when Candace realized that she was or that the industry was trying to pigeonhole her into this, like, Black conservative, get deployed out to, like, speak on Black issues, like be the token coon, I think that's when she left and she went to Daily Wire and she started covering a lot more issues and a lot more, she kind of broke away from, like, just being pigeonholed into the Black conservative, like, railway, and she carved out her own path, which is a beautiful thing, and she's doing great things. She's taking over the internet, but at the same time, like, you have to remember, like, she was selected to play that role. And
well, at least they still have Brandon Tatum.
Right. But Brandon Tatum and her.
That's exactly what he does.
Exactly. That's what they wanted her to do. And when she went rogue, I think that caused a problem for them. And now she's like, people have the memes of her, like Nick Fuentes, like she's going into the barn and she's, like, lighting it on fire and stuff. And I think she knew that they were trying to pigeonhole her. And that's part of the reason why, she broke away and carved a lane for herself. And it's awesome that she did that. Yeah, but remember,
so can you blame her for leaving then?
No, but what I'm saying is Charlie selected her and Brandon Tatum to play that role. That's what she was hired to do, to be the urban director. And so what people are missing out of this conversation is, like, Charlie was already part of the apparatus that was creating culture and that was curating media in, like, a social, like, socially engineering their own, satellite, their new Hollywood, like, their own characters to create their own leaders. And she was one of those to play the, like, conservative Black person role. And so, like, this idea that Charlie had no idea what was happening, that he had no idea what was going on with his, like, company, like, that he was creating this behemoth to influence culture, and, like, he had no idea that there were people there that were trying to, like, socially engineer, manipulate culture. Like, that's exactly what it was. And she participated in that as well, to influence the narrative around BLM and Black America from a, like, contrary counterculture point of view. Like, that's what it was. And so, like, now I think my issue is, like, this narrative is being, like, created that, like, Charlie had no idea. It's like Charlie had absolutely an idea. Every time I went to Freedom Night, he was rattling off. And don't get me wrong, I don't want to sound disrespectful, because I do love Charlie and have a lot of love for Turning Point, and honestly I have a lot of love for Candace too. But he went to Freedom Night and he would be saying the same, like, Hasbara talking points that you hear from Mark Levin about Muslims, about the Middle East, about Israel. Like, up until a month before he died, like, he was saying, like the threat for Islamic, like, jihad is upon the West. And he was, like, really cranking it up after SAS because he knew he was in trouble with his Zionist donors. So, I just have a hard time believing that Charlie was, like, falling away from Israel. Anybody that, like, follows me and see what I repost and stuff, I, like, I'm no friend to the Israel lobby. I'm, like, pretty red pilled and, like, Reuther pilled on Israel. But I don't think that Charlie was leaving the Israeli cause. He tapped us to recruit Matt Nuclear a week before he died. I know, because I was the person that was delegated that duty to reach out to Matt Nuclear. And I had emails going back and forth with him, and I was dragging my feet, and I was, like, kept rescheduling the interview and rescheduling our meeting to get him onboarded as, like, an influencer for Blexit, because I wasn't feeling the pro-Israel stuff. But Charlie wanted us to platform Matt Nuclear a week before he died. And he interviewed Matt Nuclear solely based on the reason that Matt Nuclear can effectively debate the Israel topic in a pro-Israel position. And now Matt Nuclear works at Daily Wire. So this idea that, okay, come fucking on now. What? I think your people, they're not.
We'll read it later. This happened last night.
They're mad. They're mad.
You can't read the chat. Listen, but you see, and this is the issue this is the problem with the Israel issue, because I've listened to countless videos of Charlie Kirk talking, and now a lot of times when people talk about Israel, they just merge it all into one. It's like the nation, the government, Mossad, the Jews, like it's just one group of people. And I don't think so. I believe in individual accountability. I believe the civilians are the civilians, the government's the government, intelligence is intelligence. Then you got the Rothschilds, then you got, but I think Charlie saw it the same way. I think that Charlie's love for Israel had to do with the land, had to do with the history. I think that he separated it from the government. And I wish I knew we were going to go in this direction, because I would have known what clips and I would have had them prepared to show you. But there are multiple instances when I'll send them to you off. Yeah, we'll follow this up off camera too and get more in depth. But there were multiple instances where Charlie was saying that I don't agree with everything that the Israeli government does. My love for Israel had to do with scripture, had to do with the architect. And like, don't forget, on October 7th, Charlie was the one who went on Patrick Bet-David and asked if there was a stand-down order. Like, he was not afraid to criticize Israel. He might have loved Israel, but he was still holding. But he was still wanted to hold them accountable. You can't tell me that Charlie didn't like. You can't tell me that Charlie liked Benjamin Netanyahu, though.
No, he probably didn't like Benjamin Netanyahu, but asking if there was a stand-down order on October 7th is very far from criticizing. Okay, you can even see, like, Charlie was, in my opinion. And I saw somebody in the chat say, she's putting words in Charlie's mouth, just like Erika and Andrew and Blake Neff did. Like, if you guys think that I'm a fan of Andrew and Blake Neff and how they're in the Charlie Kirk ghost show that they're sitting on, like, I'm not a fan. And, I really wanted to talk about actually Erika and how I thought that her and the DA's behavior in the evidentiary hearings last week was very bizarre and suspicious, and I hope that we get to that. But just to close,
we could go to it right now. Close
out on the Israel issue with Charlie. Look, I think the issue with the Israel thing is that, because last time we talked about how he wrote a letter to Benjamin Netanyahu, basically giving him a play-by-play of how to propagandize the American people, and how he wanted out from being obligated to defend Israel in the campuses because he was getting completely annihilated by these students when he was trying to defend Israel.
Yeah, he's like, this is what you could do. I don't want to do it no more.
Yeah, he doesn't want to do it anymore because he knew it was a losing argument. However, he still continued to do it. And this person said, I'm putting words in Charlie's mouth. Somebody in your chat. But why don't you go back and reread the message then? Because you said he was leaving the Israel cause. Go back and reread the message. He said the donors follow every Jewish stereotype because they just withdrew a donation. So because they withdrew the donation, he's withdrawing from the Israel cause. Not because he had some moral epiphany that Palantir and the IDF were using facial recognition technology to slaughter 8-year-olds and amputee orphans. It wasn't because of that. Charlie knew exactly what they were doing in the Gaza Strip and in Palestine forever. And he never blinked an eye about it, and he turned the other cheek about it. And I do love a lot of what Charlie has to say, but I did disagree with him on Palestine, on Gaza, and on the Muslim issue. And I want to make that clear that I really do believe that he was on the wrong side of that issue. And I think that we're trying to romanticize him. And I think that people like Candace and Tucker, they want to believe that their best friend was on the right side of this issue. But the fact of the matter was, he wasn't the one debating Dave Smith, was he? He put Josh Hammer to debate Dave Smith, and he mediated it. And that still was too much for the Israel lobby. They still flipped out about it and took their donations away and completely pushed back against him. So this idea that he was hardcore questioning and going up against this machine of the Israel lobby, like Tucker's doing now, or like Candace was doing, or like Nick has done, it's just completely categorically not true. What happened with Charlie was that his base was moving away from the Israel issue. And he, in my opinion, intrinsically knew that it was a losing argument. And if he stayed appeasing the donors, that he was going to lose all credibility, and that the base is going to shift over to Nick Fuentes, who was gaining a generational run like right before SAS. Everybody was watching his coverage of Iran. And I think that was part of the reason why Charlie was like, I can't let someone like Nick Fuentes gain momentum and surpass me in this covering of the Israeli issue and in the Iran issue when the Epstein DOJ dropped the whole like, well, we're not going to prosecute any co-conspirators. He has no co-conspirators and there is no Epstein list, and that was it. Joke. And then when Donald Trump was like what Epstein files, after that, he had no choice. SAS was already scheduled the next day. He had no choice but to address it because his base cared about it. If his base didn't care about it, he wouldn't address it, is my point. Unlike Candace, who went against all odds and faced the fire, and when her base wasn't supporting it at the time, she did what the Holy Spirit had convicted her to do, to speak out against this evil. I'm telling you, Charlie was not speaking out against the IDF slaughtering 8-year-olds. Up until like a month before, I went and saw his Freedom Night speech a month before he died in August. Like, I'm telling you, he was has talking points about Muslim jihad infiltrating America and how we all need to be afraid of the Muslims. And he was trying to get me personally. I had to write the emails to Matt Nuclear to try to recruit him to Blexit because he can argue for Israel. That's literally why. Because he thought he won some argument or argued well in defense of Israel a week before he died. So this idea he was turning on Israel I just think it's bullshit. Personally, coming from someone who does not like Israel. But yeah, so that's all I had to say about the Israel part. And I know you guys aren't going to like that. And you think that I'm looking away and I'm fucking putting like words in Charlie's mouth and stuff. I'm not. This is just what I think. I'm not saying this is what Charlie thinks. This is what I think. So,
listen, I mean, like I say all the time, when it comes to people on a screen, you know, like whether you're watching YouTube, the news, whatever, like we know how the machine operates, how it props people up, it tears people down, and we don't know these people. Like I know, like when I watch anybody on YouTube, the news, politicians, whatever, like I don't know them. They're not my neighbor. They're not my friend. They're not my relative, you know? So it's like that's why, you know, conversations like this are so interesting for me, because it's like I get like a real like first-hand experienced look of somebody who's dealt with these individuals. And for me, that's rare because I'm not on that scene. So it's like I'm just soaking it in and just listening. And, you know, I find it fascinating because at different parts of this, I mean, how long have we been going? We've been going for 40 minutes so far. And at some points, it seems like, you know, you're going at Candace a little bit. And then like when it comes to Charlie and Israel, it's like you're defending. No, like my point is you're being objective. Like like I'm taking it like you're trying to call balls and strikes. Like I've spoken to you on the phone. I don't know how many times, but it's been over a half a dozen. And, you know, like I've seen you get emotional talking about Charlie. You know what I mean? Like we've had conversations about a lot of this stuff. And it's like, I can't, like, I'm not going to say that I know how you feel, but I believe that you believe in your words. And, you know, that's why I talked to you. That's why I wanted to have you on, you know, because at the end of the day, people want the truth, whether they like it or not, whether they can handle it or not. You're like, that's what it is. And from every side, you're seeing all this tribalism. You're seeing all this like cookie cutter, sugar coated stuff. It's like everybody's like an extremist. It's like either it's like, you know, it's like the can't do wrong, end all be all, greatest person on earth, or it's like the worst person on the planet. And at the end of the day, we're all human. We're all human.
I saw someone just call me disrespectful. Look, I'm calling balls and strikes, like you said. Like, I'm just shooting it straight how I see it. You can agree with me or not. Like, this is my perspective from what I know and from what I've experienced and from what I personally saw. Like, you don't have to believe me. I really don't care. You know, this is what my opinion is from my vantage point. Like, that doesn't mean that, like, I agree with everything Erika did. I think that it's bizarre and it's suspicious that she, after the ATF report, this came up in the evidentiary hearing. So Tyler Robinson's attorney Novak, he's trying to hold the prosecution in contempt of court because the attorney Ballard, who is on the prosecution side, he works for the DA's office. He's like the communications director for Utah County DA office. He like had been deployed by Attorney Gray after Erika called Attorney Gray and asked him if he could like go and do like a media tour for to try to influence the public opinion about the ATF report, because it dropped that it was inconclusive, that the bullet fragment didn't match the rifle, and that it was inconclusive basically. And we all know that, right, with the ATF report. Well, the last evidentiary hearing, Attorney Novak was pressing him, and it came out that Erika Kirk had called Attorney Gray and like, what did she like? Was she like, oh, please, can you please just, go try to influence the public opinion, like bat her eyes and flip her hair? And then, this like 70-year-old DA is like, oh yes, Erika, I'll make sure I go do it. And like go tap like, Attorney Ballard to go make this press tour where he's basically like her PR agent. Like he's basically doing what Andrew Colvett should be doing. So that is definitely weird and suspicious. Like, why don't you just let people believe what they believe and let the evidence like explain itself? Like, why are you here trying to influence public opinion if you have nothing to hide? You know,
and why were they withholding all the evidence from the defense for so long?
Yeah, I think the defense just barely got.
Well, it wasn't the prosecution that was withholding the defense. It was the FBI, I believe. That's what they were saying. Well,
that's what the prosecution was
There's
saying.
so many shenanigans in this case. All right. Before we pivot and get into other, just so we could get more of a baseline here. Do you think Tyler Robinson did it?
No. He couldn't.
Do you think he was involved?
I think he knows what happened.
I think he knows what happened too. I think he might have been involved. He might not have known exactly what he was going to be involved in. And I think it's complete bullshit that this whole Lance Twiggs situation. I don't understand why Lance Twiggs was not charged with him. I don't understand how he's not even having to be cross-examined at the preliminary hearing. I don't understand how all of a sudden his family seems to be falling into all this kind of money. And I don't understand how he has like some form of immunity based on some of his statements. It's all very, very shady to me, especially, and shout out to Baron Coleman. And this is what I'm talking about. Like when people talk about the investigation, like I go by what I learn and the sources that I get from. And it was me watching the Baron Coleman show where I heard the audio of the dispatch calls where you're hearing that they're looking like when they're describing Charlie's shooter, that it's somebody wearing all black, not just black shirt, not a maroon shirt, all black, black shirt, black pants, aviator glasses, tactical gear, and long hair. Now that does not fit the description of Tyler Robinson at all, but it could potentially fit the description of Lance Twiggs. And just with that, the fact that it's recorded, it's on record. How was he not charged as well? It makes no sense to me.
Well, not only
and then
was
when
he
there's
not...
all these discrepancies in the timeline, it's like, well, when exactly did he get brought in? Originally, they're trying to say that his parents recognized him from a blurry video and knew it was him, and that they turned him in. They had a cop friend, and he went in. He confessed. He said he did it. He gave the most ridiculous confession on Discord, allegedly. And now it's like we're hearing, well, maybe that's not what happened. Maybe this guy was afraid that he was going to get killed by the cops, and that him and his family went to turn himself in and made sure that he would be safe. And now they're not talking.
Right. And no, you're totally right about that. It's very, very strange. Not only did he not get charged, but then his family relocates to Dallas, and he doesn't have to testify in the preliminary hearing.
So weird. They want to have him bring in a pre-recorded statement, I believe. Like they wanted the FBI to not actually give the evidence. They wanted them to be able to like submit some kind of like form, like with their report. You know what I mean? Like it's the most ridiculous kangaroo North Korea court type shit I've ever seen in this country. And it's disgusting. This is the worst cover up that we've seen since 9/11.
No, I definitely like for one, like they're hanging a capital punishment case. They're hanging a death penalty case on hearsay. So that's already like really suspicious. my first instinct when he died was that like it was the neocons, and I still think that as well. So like when Candace talks about there might be a potential like military angle here, I don't think that's too far off. Like if you study any of like the history of American assassinations, like and the deep state, and especially with John F. Kennedy, when you look into him and Angleton and the CIA's hand in that, in this like unholy alliance between the intelligence agencies and the military industrial complex and like the DOD, it's totally plausible. And I think that's where I say, like, I do appreciate the research that Barron and Candace have done. At the end of the day, anybody that goes up against the military industrial complex is going to be flattened out. And I think that is something that Charlie really did believe in. I think Charlie was anti-war for real. I think he did want to see an end to forever wars. I know that he was like anti-neocon. So when Tucker says that, like, that is true. Like, from what my perspective was about Turning Point was that they were trying to create an alternative or like a brand new era to the RNC where they weren't controlled by the neocons. I'm pretty sure that was like part and parcel of the mission, was to create a new Republican Party that didn't involve forever wars. And unfortunately, I think that.
And now that he's gone, the TPUSA, not speaking out against the war, didn't endorse Thomas Massey.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely.
Charlie Kirk, 2 months before he died, he's talking to Mark Harper and about getting all these young conservatives to come speak out about Epstein. They're not doing that. It's like, what the hell is TPUSA doing that respects Charlie and his memory and his legacy and his goals? Because like regardless of what you think, like Charlie's views on Israel or this or that, it seems like everything's a 180.
I mean, that's part of the reason why I quit, was because I started seeing, like I told you, I mean, that was before Charlie died, but like, certain characters were being like, because I did sign an NDA with these people. So like, I wasn't a fan of like the pro-war angle that was being taken by leadership online. And like, I think I've been honest with you about that in the past, where like I'm joined Turning Point because I thought that they were anti-war. Like, had I known that they were going to be like championing a war in Iran and like rooting for it, and like, I mean, that I wouldn't have joined. But then also when Charlie was alive, he also defended a lot of the strikes. Like, that's what I'm saying. People aren't listening. People aren't like, people have selective memory when it comes to Charlie and the Israel situation. Like, if you remember,
most people have selective memory in general.
If you remember when the IDF had attacked Syria with the pagers last summer, like I think it was June, Charlie Kirk did a reaction to that, and he said, you have to admit that was pretty amazing. Like, it was pretty amazing that they could pull off such a strategic operation like that. Like, oh my gosh, the pagers, how, he was like praising the pager incident when it was like, civilians were killed. So people have selective memory when it comes to like how Charlie fell on the Israel issue. And I just think that he was caught between his base and his donors, to be honest with you. I think if his base stayed pro-Israel, I think he would have stayed pro-Israel. Like, I think that's really it. But that doesn't change the fact that Erika's, in my opinion, has been, I think that was weird to call the DA and deploy Ballard out. I think it's weird to also,
I think a lot of things have been weird.
Motion to expedite the trial. The murder trials usually take like 2 years. You know what I mean?
After she forgave him at the memorial.
I think it was weird that she forgave him at the memorial. I think
you know what I think is weird, and to those watching, they've heard me say it a million times, but before I forget, I gotta spit it out. I think it's weird that when Candace Owens first came out and was talking about how she heard Charlie was messaging people that he was afraid that he was gonna die, that Erika Kirk got on Glenn Beck and said no, he wasn't, and she would know because she has his phone. And then not only do we find out that he was, but he was to none other than Andrew Colvett, the guy sitting in his chair right now, and Dan Flood. And I found out from you, actually, the last time you were here, because I thought Brian Hartpole was head of security, like top of the totem pole. And you told me, no, it was actually Dan Flood.
Brian Hartpole is a contractor. He's a contractor for Dan Flood, who is like his point of contact. I mean, he's been working with them for a long time, and you know, I mean, I'm not like I wasn't that high up to know like the intricacies of how, you know, their security plan was. All I know is that like I saw them a couple times, not a couple times. I saw them over the course of 2 years, and they were always really cool with me. You know, I mean, they were always really cool with everyone. That doesn't mean anything. I'm not saying yes or no. Like I have the answers to whether or not Dan Flood was involved or not. What I'm saying though is that like I think that we need to be more measured when we're talking about like Charlie's understanding of his like Operation Turning Point. Like he knew everything that was going on, and to insinuate that he didn't, almost like you're not acknowledging the fact that Charlie was a visionary and like he was an in-depth thinker, and he was very calculated, and you're basically underestimating his masculinity by saying that like he had no idea who his wife really was. Like, of course, if there was anything, if
Wait, hold on, I want to pause you real quick because I want to build to the direction that we're going right now. I don't mean to cut you off, but I just want you to understand there are still a lot of people that think that this was staged, that Charlie's not even dead, and a lot of those people believe that him and Erika didn't even have kids. Now, you were there. You knew all these individuals. Did you ever see their children?
I think I've seen Max before at a Dream City Church event, but maybe not. No, I mean, I wasn't like C-suite, like hanging out with him and his family and stuff. I would see him at events, and we took one meeting with him, and I saw him at the office a couple times. He'd like walk around, you know, and
because I know I'd spoken to somebody that said that they had seen the kids and that the daughter looked like Charlie and the son looked like Erika, but I wasn't, you know, like nothing was really.
I don't know. I don't want to talk about their kids.
No. Me neither. It was just supposed to be a simple yes or no. Okay, so now getting more into Erika, what was when you were at TPUSA? Did you see her? Did you ever work with her? Did you have interactions,
Erika was like,
before you left?
No, she wasn't there. That's the thing. Like, I'm sure the C-suite knew Erika, but like the employees did not know Erika. The first time I saw Erika, and it was actually, I remember this because I remember thinking like, wow, she's really overdressed for like a Wednesday freedom night. Like, you know, like we had to go to these things like once a month, and, you know, I would table there, and then like would go in and watch Charlie speak like after the dancing and the worship service. And I remember the first time I saw Erika was, I think, June of 2025. And she was like dolled up in glam. She was wearing this like black dress with like these huge shoulders, and she was wearing like stiletto heels, and she was going, I think, basically making her debut at Freedom Night. And I remember being like, never seeing her ever, like I've never seen her before that. And that was the first time I saw her, and it was on a Wednesday, and she was giving a speech. And I remember thinking like, that's interesting. I wonder if they're going to be like deploying her, like if this is her debut, she's going to start making more appearances.
Now, were there frequent or a lot of occasions that you saw them together? In any capacity, even just stopping by? I know you said she wasn't really there, like working, but like, did she ever just show up to events where they?
I don't remember her at past events. Like, I don't remember her at the People's Convention. I don't remember seeing her at AmFest in 2024. I don't remember seeing her at the Dream Conference. I don't remember seeing her at all.
So most of your viewpoints.
I only saw her that one time I only saw her that one time at Freedom Night in June or May.
So most of your I
think it might have been May or June. Freedom
Okay.
Night, yeah.
So for the most part, your opinion on her is based on like what you've seen, like the rest of us. Like
no, like the first time, like I saw her was on that call that went viral. So I was on that call with all the emojis and she was like laughing and smiling and stuff. Like I was on that call. I remember, I think I told you last time, I thought it was off putting that she was like smiling and laughing and like not a tear rolled down her eye during that
Is
call.
that the one? Is that the one where she said, "I don't mean to be morbid, but he's dead. We got to move on. It's TPUSA 2.0 or something along those lines."
That might have been the second one. It was the one where she said this was the event of the century. Okay. That could have been the same one. I forget. It was last year, but she was like, "This is the event of the century," and she was talking about like hat sales and stuff like that. Like that was on that call. That was a Turning Point USA call.
So, do you think that the backlash that she's been getting from the public? See, I want to word this more sensitively. I don't want to say justified or justifiable, but do you think it's understandable?
Yeah, I do. I think that when she came out, when I went left on Erika was when she came out and said, "Oh, this is like Nehemiah, like, oh, when all the peasants are down at the foot of the hill, it's like, come down to the hill and speak to the peasants." And she's like, "No, I'm too busy building." I was like, okay, queen, you're too busy building. You can't come down and talk to the people who's put blood, sweat, and tears in volunteer hours and overtime hours into this like company, and who looked at Charlie like he was their general, and then he gets shot in the freaking neck, and you don't have time to come out and explain why you're texting 15-year-olds that you want to grab their ass. Like, that's when I kind of turned on Erika. I'm like, okay, well, no, I think that we do deserve to know actually what's going on in Romania and why you were working at Next Top Model Management during the same time that Jeffrey Epstein was in New York, and he was, affiliated with them, and they were affiliated with Jean-Luc Brunel and all of this shit. I think that we do actually have a right to know if that's true or not. And I think that she needs to be pressed about it. But instead she went on all these interviews with all this friendly, like she went to Barry Wise before she sat down.
You know what I found out? Remember, I'm sure you've seen the video that I did where I was ripping her after her Fox News interview, the one that she's wearing the red blazer, because that was the one that really put me off when she started attacking the conspiracy theorists and referring to the security team and everyone at TPUSA. She's like, "That's my family. That's my family." It's like, no. Your family was Charlie Kirk, your husband. Those are your employees. Those security team that people are criticizing that you're attacking were the people that were hired with one job, and that was to keep Charlie alive and to keep Charlie safe, and that they failed miserably, and they didn't even get fired. Well, in fact, I think one of them got a raise.
Turning Point says that a lot. She's not the only one that says it. A lot of people say that, like, it's family. But still, it's family.
How is she going to attack? It's family. Didn't they lay off like a large percentage of people after AmFest? A lot of which that were questioning the narrative with Tyler Robinson.
Yeah, but I'm just saying, like, she's not the only one that uses
the term.
Like,
the family is more generic
because this is. I think I explained this last time. Like, Turning Point is very enmeshed in the sense where, like, it's not just like, oh, you apply to a job and like here you just work 9 to 5 and then you clock out and that's it. Like, you're working around the clock 24/7. Your Telegram chat is always blowing up. You're always on the job. If your manager needs you for something right now, like, and you do it because you know that you're fighting a mission against like the radical communists that are going to take over America. And like everybody that gets employed there has that like in them where they understand that like we are actually in a spiritual war. And so it doesn't really matter like what time or how many hours that you put in, because you are fighting against something much bigger than just like a 9 to 5. You're fighting against like this deep state apparatus that's trying to take over the country. So that environment,
they're trying to take over the country. They already have the country. I think that they're trying to separate us from God. And like you hit the nail on the head when you said that we're in a spiritual war. And like it's like literally they want our souls. Like I know that might sound like a little extreme, but like I don't know any other way to put it. It's right. Like these people want our souls.
Right. But the question, I guess, was like Turning Point is super enmeshed because of that reason, because like when you're working with people that are sharing in this, like you start trauma bonding and you start like you're battle tested, and then you have, all your battle tested like coworkers around you, and like you gain this like relationship where no one really understands what you guys go through together. Cause like, it's like, because you're facing it every single day, day in and day out. that it becomes like this like calloused, almost like shield of like the Turning Point family. It's just something that like naturally organic grows from just being battle tested with your coworkers so much. However, I've never seen Erika battle tested. So that's the irony in all this. It's like,
oh yeah, she showed her true colors right away. Oh, what I was gonna say when I was bringing up that Fox interview where she was wearing the red blazer, do you know that was filmed the same day as the Barry Weiss interview?
no, that's what I'm saying. The why
It's the same day. One, she's got her hair one way, she's got the red blazer, she's got one energy, and then all of a sudden she changes her hair, changes her outfit, changes her temperament, probably changed her makeup, and then she's there with Barry Weiss with the pre-taped interview with all the actors and the answers the questions that she got in advance and the script. It's like it's just all bullshit. There is nothing sincere about this woman.
Well, that's when my antennas started going up. Is like, why would you with your first option or one of your first options, because she made her Fox News like cycle with the performative like crying. It was just like hard. It was hard.
Hold on. Trigger. Yo, shout out to Trigger Smart in the chat. Yo, I've said this to you before on the phone too. After the last one,
because we're both from the Northeast.
She's the female base. That's great. It's true though. We have that same like fiery personality where we just let it rip. And it's like we worry about the consequences and collateral damage later.
So someone asked, what did I actually do at Turning Point? I did introduce myself at the top of the show, but I came into Turning Point and I was the state director for Arizona, and that was a volunteer position. And then I got hired on with Turning Point Action to chase ballots for Chase the Vote for the Donald Trump 2024 campaign. And then I got hired on at Turning Point USA to be the social media admin for Blexit, where I worked until I quit in November of 2025. Somebody just asked me that. I just want to clarify that for them. But, back to Barry Weiss. It made my like antennas go up when she was the first, one of the first interviews that she took. Cause I'm like, why would you take an interview with a Israeli
a Mossad individual is what I like to call him on here. I have some trouble battling with the algorithm from time to time, especially with the stuff that I talk about. Most odd individuals.
So yeah, it's bizarre.
It's almost bizarre. Like a rhetorical question. Like, why wouldn't she take that interview with her? Especially right after Larry Ellison of all people bought the company, or his son, whatever it was, David Ellison, technically, maybe, I don't know.
So yeah, and then you couple that behavior with just how funny the prosecution has been acting, and the fact that like nobody knows that there's multiple DNA that was found on that gun. Like,
oh no, we know now. We didn't know at the time, but yeah.
No, you guys know because you guys are in, like, this community is doing the research to find out, and people like Barron and like Candace are like doing the work to expose that
and Trigger Smart and Danks and Jesse on Fire, Valhalla VFT, Coach Colin, like Mr. Let Go, Alley Top Files, Blake Bednarz, Kelly Raybon, like there's so many different people that are doing research. And it's funny too, because like I'm right in the middle of a lot of this shit, and a lot of these, I don't want to say a lot, I'm not gonna get too much into it, but like there is infighting. There's like personal infighting. There's infighting in the theories. And, I say it all the time to these people. It's like, we're all on the same team. Like we have to like just do the work and find the truth. And it's so easy to get caught up in the bullshit. But yeah, like when people talk about the investigation, first it was just all about Candace. And then after that, it's like, Barron blew up, and then it's like Candace and Barron. But the truth is it is a group effort. There are a lot of different people. I'm sure there's probably people that I didn't even mention that are offended. Ian Carroll, can't forget him. Shout out to Kevin from Web2. Like there's just, it's a lot. A lot of people. Yeah, and I got to shout out American Discourse News just because.
Yeah, and I'm great. I am personally like grateful that people are, not believing the narrative, because people were acting very strange after Charlie died. And even like we can get off here, and I could even go more into that, because I don't want to like, do too much on this this stream, because I think we've already done too much, to be honest with you. Yeah, I know that this community isn't gonna like me because I disagree with them on the Israel question. Like, I think that Charlie, if they just put their donation back, Charlie would still be saying the same, Muslim Hezbollah, the anti-Islamophobic like Hezbollah talking points. I think that he would still be going along with it if they didn't pull their donations out. I'm sorry, that's just what I took from the text message or the Telegram chat that Candace released. Like, I didn't take that as like he was leaving the Israel cause and that's why they killed him. I took it as they took away their donations, and so he's leaving. But if they gave the donations back, he would come back. I think what the line probably was disinviting Tucker to AmFest. I could see him not budging on that, and we know that he didn't budge on that. So I could see that being an issue. But I think I'm sorry. I just really think that they could have found another way to get Charlie to bend to the Israel thing. Maybe not too much, and maybe not like Benjamin Netanyahu infiltrating, like having a seat on the board. Maybe not that, but that's just my personal opinion.
I really hope you come on again soon. This has been great. I want to read a couple of these super chats before we wrap it up, though, because I'm assuming that you might have a question or two in here for you. So let's see. We got Kier Michelle became a member. Thank you very much. Awakening gifted membership. Thank you very much. We have M. Weidman, $2. Thank you very much. Look into Daniel Syed with Epi. Bug stuff, or is it big stuff? We got Haley Graham, $50. Love your show. Thank you very much. We have Jax Loves Rich, $5. If Charlie was really going to hire Matt Nuclear, he knew exactly what he was doing. Matt would have had the college kids questioning Israel. Yeah, I'm not familiar with Matt Nuclear. I gotta look into
exactly. That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying with this Israel thing. Like, I'm telling you, like, I can't get the emails because it was on my Turning Point email, and like I don't have access to my Turning Point email anymore. But you can ask Matt Nuclear. Say this chick named Lala said she was messaging you a week before Charlie died because she was going to bring you on to Blexit because Charlie wanted you to be like a Blexit influencer for our social media page. And he'll be like, yeah, that's true. So he did know exactly what he was doing because Matt Nuclear was debating the pro-Israel position. So if Charlie was distancing himself from Israel, why would he want to recruit a pro-Israel debater so that he could deploy him out to the universities with him and that he could?
But I do think he was trying to get people from both sides of the argument. You know what I mean? Like,
he was trying to find someone that was effective at debating the pro-Israel position.
But do you think that was more because of his beliefs or to keep the donors happy and just let it play out? And just like set the stage and just, all right, I'm going to get people from both sides. I'm going to moderate and just let it go. Like kind of like what he did with Dave Smith and Josh Hammer, If
someone was leaving the Israel cause, would they be actively trying to recruit pro-Israel people? Like,
well, if they were afraid that they would get killed if they did, they might want to, have slip their way out instead of just walking out and slamming the door.
The same thing that that Charlie was going through is what we're seeing with Megyn Kelly. Look how quick Megyn Kelly is to just run back and try to be.
I wouldn't go that far.
No, let me tell you. No.
Megyn Kelly, like, she's a real fence sitter. Listen. I never saw Charlie Kirk. No, but Megyn Kelly's different though. I never seen Charlie Kirk sticking up for Alan Dershowitz.
Hear me out. Megyn Kelly is trying so hard to run back into the good graces of these people. She won't even address the fact that AIPAC is American Jews with dual citizenship. She's saying anybody that points that out is a bigot. Okay? Charlie was the same way. Charlie got on Megyn Kelly to complain that he was being attacked because the way that the Zionists were coming after him after it was disgusting and it was hard and it was like uncalled for. But that's what caused the reaction. The reaction away from Israel was how they were behaving, not because he himself independently made an analysis about the behavior of the IDF in Gaza and decided to make a fundamental change and put his foot down and rip his company away from this demonic force that is the Israel lobby. He did not do that. That's what my point is. Like, he was okay and content with maintaining in the mouth of the lion. Like understanding that it was a dragon, understanding that it was a behemoth that was like the amount of influence that it had in America. Charlie was fully aware about the influence the Israel lobby had in America. That's why he was dancing around them, and why he was playing nice, and why he was barely even criticizing, and why he himself didn't debate Josh Hammer, why Dave Smith did. This is my personal opinion. This is why he had Ben Shapiro on the show the day before he died, you know? So he could be like, oh, Ben, you know, tell me how to effectively debate the Israel question on campuses. That's what the conversation, that's why he had Ben Shapiro on. I'm sorry. I just like, I don't want to sound disrespectful, but it's annoying when people.
No, keep it real. Keep it real. I hate when people pander and bullshit.
I'm not a panderer, and I'm not going to bullshit. And if that means that you guys aren't going to like me, then I don't give a fuck, to be honest with you. This is
I tell them this shit all the time. Don't worry. You're in good company.
That doesn't mean that I think that Tyler, where I disagree with Nick is that I don't think Tyler Robinson did it. I don't think he pulled the trigger. I don't think it was the lunatic communist consortium that's on the left. I think it was the neocons. That's where we differ, which some would say, well, that's the same thing as Israel. It's like, okay, I mean, it could be, but I don't think it was Benjamin Netanyahu. I think it was more likely like, never mind. I'm not going to
save that for later.
It's more likely Pete Hegseth, but you know.
Oh, wow. Went there.
Well, I mean, what about the plane? Are you tracking that?
Yes.
Yes. What was the tail number of that plane again? I forget.
I have it in my
Pete Hegseth's plane and this is another detail that I haven't heard anybody really say, but if JD Vance had sent that or set up that emergency meeting on the 17th of July, the weekend after SAS, right? And then on the 18th of July, Turning Point, according to Candace's reporting, Turning Point had reached out to UVU to set up the Prove Me Wrong debate. If that is the case, and if it is the case that Pete Hegseth's plane like flew over UVU and was like the last flight out of Provo or whatever, and that only the vice president and the president can authorize that SAM flight, then if that is true and that's the case, then that's would make sense. Like I would question whether or not JD Vance made a phone call to Turning Point between the 17th and the 18th. I'm not implying anything. I'm just questioning, like, did that happen? I want to know if that happened. I want to know if there was a call from the White House. I want to know if there was a call from the White House after that meeting to Turning Point. Because that would
give me some homework.
I think someone should FOIA that and see if JD Vance's office made a call to Turning Point.
That's a good idea.
Anyway.
Hold on. Let's keep going. So P. Huck Pfizer, $5. Thank you very much. She may not be that wrong. I am listening and considering everything. If I don't, I am just as ignorant and closed-minded as the ones attacking us online. And to that, you get a clap because you're 100% right. Tawny, $2. I've seen the kids. Thank you very much. We got Crystal Moonbeam, $2. Was Erika at TPUSA a lot before Charlie's unaliving? No. Yeah, no, you answered that one before.
I never saw her.
First, Zeno, $5. Thank you very much. Seems like TPUSA is the deep state. Are they battle tested or brainwashed? Serious question. I wouldn't say that they are the deep state. I think that they are definitely a mechanism that's operating, within the apparatus to some degree. What do you think? In the social engineering, which we've already covered before, I think that has, especially now when you see that they're recruiting all these pastors and getting religion into it,
What I will say is that Brad Parscale worked for Donald Trump for like over 20 years, and he was the media director in 2016, 2020. I think, he was even on the 2024 campaign. Then he worked for the Trump the Trump Towers and the Trump Incorporated, like before that too, and now he's a foreign agent. So it makes you think, was it all like a lie, and was it all fabricated from the beginning? Was it all like an Israeli, Mossad deep state operation? And did we all get played? I
think we've all been getting played for a long time. The question is how. It's not an if, it's a how and to what degree. And Bradley Pascal, yeah, I mean, you look into him. He's got let's just say he's got some blemishes on his record with his personal life. I'm not going to go deeper into that. And now M. Weidman, $2. Big stuff. Daniel Syed, I promise, eye-opening. Well, since you commented about it twice, I will definitely have to look into that. Now, can I ask you one more question before we wrap this up? And I'll make it a spicy one.
She's probably bought and paid for by bad actors at Turning Point.
After saying all that,
that's hilarious. I don't know. Are bad actors at Turning Point like actually calling out Erika?
Guys, this is the most diverse, objective viewpoint of this situation that I've ever gotten from anybody, and it's from somebody that actually worked with these people. And speaking of. Now, one of the theories that goes, because I got this conspiracy theorist crowd. Everybody says that.
More like paid for by Ben. Dude, I hate Ben Shapiro. I never liked Ben Shapiro. Dude.
Balls and strikes. All right.
No. Look, people in the chat, you cannot be mad at people for disagreeing with you. Okay, not everybody is going to see everything the way that you do. Like, it's not like, it's either a military operation or Tyler Robinson did it. I think that there is nuance. I think you can think Tyler Robinson did not kill Charlie and also think Erika Kirk is weird and also think that,
it wasn't Mossad.
I'm not ruling them out.
I'm not ruling them out either. I'm just saying that it's okay that it doesn't have to be one or the other.
I think that we need to wait and see how the trial goes. And honestly, the way that they were behaving in the evidentiary here is sketchy as hell and super suspicious. So my eyebrows definitely raised. But it's important to see what evidence that they submit, just to see what evidence they didn't submit too. You know what I'm saying? Nobody really knows. And doing the research and everything is awesome. I'm paying attention. I'm tracking. You guys are tracking. I'm excited to see. Not excited, but I really want to see how this trial goes next week. I'm going to be there.
It's not the trial. It's just the preliminary hearing.
The pre-trial is from the 6th to the 10th.
Yes, I know. We talked about it. I'm very sad I'm not going to be able to make it there.
Yeah, I'm going to be going, but I want to see how
I'm going to be hitting you up. I hope you know that. I might try to link you up with a couple people too. But one more question before we wrap it up. You ready? Now, I'm telling you, got to read the chat after. You'll get too much. You'll get sucked in. That's why I do members only. Listen, I do members only where it's, and guys, if you haven't already, I haven't even said it once, please do me a favor. Like the video, like the live, subscribe to the channel. It helps a lot. Lala will be back. I'm going to keep trying to get more I don't know if I'm going to find anybody as exciting as Lala, but I'm going to try to keep finding credible sources and people that are informative and entertaining and have more guests. But the members only lives is where I spill the tea. Because you don't have 1,000 people watching. You get 20 to 50 people. Everybody's commenting. You can read it. It's not moving so fast. For me, it's people that come consistently, so I kind of have a better idea who they are. It's not just random names.
Is that what this is?
This is not a members only. No.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, no. We have 1,100 watching right now on YouTube, which is the most that I've ever had. So thank you very much for that. You're helping elevate my show. I really appreciate that. I hope I could return the favor.
How many are watching?
On YouTube, we have 1,100, and then more and then more on X. But the members only is usually a lot less. And it's more personal, you know what I mean? So it's you could be more comfortable, and it's fun. It's a different experience.
Somebody called me a disrespectful asshole.
Oh my God, you should have seen what happened last night. Last night was a horror show. I can't get into it. If you were there, you're there. If you're not a member, you don't know. Sorry. But yeah, it was freaking wild. But again, last question. So one of the big conspiracy theories that goes around, not even a conspiracy theory, but a lot of the speculation is that, some people believe that Charlie and Erika, that their marriage was like a facade. I've been told by people that Charlie really loved Erika. I haven't really heard from too many people that they weren't as adamant about Erika's love for Charlie. But there are the rumors going around that Charlie was sleeping in his daughter's bed the night before and this and that. I just want to ask you, because you were around. Was there ever anything that you saw that could have signaled that maybe there was trouble at home, that maybe there was trouble in the marriage? You don't have to answer if you don't want to. Don't worry.
No, I'm not going to answer that. What I will say is on stage and behind anytime there was like a production about them, like they always seemed like they were really in love. They always seemed like they were in love, on social media and on the stage when there's ever a production. Like he'd always introduce her as like the love of his life. I do know that Erika had a lot to say about who got hired. I know that because I know a lot of people at Turning Point that were hired because Erika found them, or they had worked for Erika, or Erika knew them. People that aren't really even in like from anywhere, from like people that just do like editing, and like basic like production, social media administrators like me. There were some that were there that were put on by Erika that were used to do work for Erika, and then she got them a job there. So like I may not have seen her there, but she definitely was like, involved with the hiring. I think at least, maybe not for everybody, but for some people. There's like one girl in particular comes to mind, that I knew, like we were chatting one day at the office, and I asked her how she got a job here, and she said Erika. So, I mean, I know that she did hire some people, or push people through the hiring process. But as far as like their relationship or marriage go, trouble in paradise, I don't know. I didn't see anything like that. I didn't see anything like that. Yeah.
Okay.
But, at the same time, I don't think that like Charlie spent his career talking about, traditional marriages and like traditional wives, that they should be home with their kids, and speaking against feminism and women as CEOs.
Yeah, we didn't even get to that.
I don't think
you got time. You want to get into that a little bit, or you want to save it for next time?
Sure. Yeah, I think that's a big thing. I agree with Candace on this. Like lady, your husband just died. Don't you think your kids deserve a mom at home? Like, why put them through this? Why put yourself through this? Like, there are so many people that are capable at Turning Point to lead it. Justin could lead it. Tyler can lead it. There are so many people at Turning Point that can lead and do that job, and you can just be on the board. Like, I just don't understand like why she is just like doubling down on this issue of like being at the helm and being the face. And I was one of those people that just didn't understand like why she immediately stepped in that position. That was also suspicious to me, because when you look at, and I'm not saying that this happens, but if you go look into a regicide and you go look at what are all Google it right now. What are the key indications of a regicide? And let's go through it and see if any of them make sense. The key regicide. I don't even know how to spell it. Regicide. Is that what it is?
I don't know if I've heard that word.
It's the killing of a reigning monarch.
Let's see.
But it's usually like when the CEO dies and somebody takes over the country. or takes over the company.
All right. Regicide, the deliberate killing of a reigning monarch or head of state, is typically signaled by a combination of secession, instability, severe socioeconomic crises,
No,
and
hold
elite
on.
alienation.
Hold on. Key indications
All right.
of
I'll pull yours up. While you're doing that,
regicide
let me read these. I got
of a
okay, new member. Thank you very much. Another new member.
corporate
What is
regicide. Sorry.
Anon America. Thank you very much.
Corporate regicide.
Corporate regicide. Okay. I'm learning new things with you today. All right, hold on. Let's see.
So there's a sudden succession plan. So there's a boardroom friction, sudden succession plan, cascading executive departure. So we saw people like leaving and quitting, people getting laid off. We saw all of a sudden
aggressive inside selling, C-suite executives, smart money board members dumping companies. It's an NGO. That's not gonna. But executive defection, sudden resignation of trusted deputies, general counsels, CFOs, signaling a fractured executive team, shifting narrative, a sudden change in the company's communication style, where the board publicly emphasizes strategic pivots or operational rigor without the CEO leading the message.
Exactly.
That kind of reminds me of the sudden 180 that we've seen from TPUSA since it's become TPUSA 2.0.
That was the point that I was trying to make.
Even though it's an NGO, it's not a private company. Loss of shareholder confidence, repeatedly failing to meet debt obligations, missing earning targets, facing public campaigns, major activist investors.
Right.
Again, it's an NGO, and not all of that is going to count. But as far as like change, drastic changes in the messaging, there we go.
So as far as drastic changing in the messaging, that's like not what the founder wanted. That's like separate from the founder.
Yeah, complete opposite. Like a wife staying home with her kids, and
that the war on Iran. You saw Andrew Colvett being like, "Oh,
Thomas Massey, the files,
Thomas Massey, the Epstein files." I don't even think they addressed the Epstein files. I think they were like, "Oh yeah, just move on. It's no big deal." And it was like business as usual. It's like what? So,
Julie Cooksey, $5. Thank you very much. Corporate regicide needs to trend. We appreciate you being here. La la. Yeah, that's what you got to do. You guys all got to go on X and say corporate regicide and tag us on X.
Don't tag me.
All right, tag me. I'll take the metaphorical, hopefully not so metaphorical bullet for that one at RealBayes. Meshbell, $5. Thank you very much. Lala is the CK appointment of Erika Kirk real? What did Barron lie about? Thank you for this live. Appreciate it very much.
I don't think Barron lied. I'm not calling anyone a liar. I don't think Barron lied.
Yeah, I don't think so.
I don't think Barron lied. I like Barron. I appreciate his work, and I thank him for keeping us all updated with what's going on. Same thing with Candace. I just disagree about the Israel thing. That's it.
Yeah, I've learned so much from Barron, not just about this case, but just like what I'm trying to do for a living in general, like just as like a broadcaster, because there is the entertainment aspect of it too, is what, you know what I mean? And like that guy, he just knocks it out of the park in every which way. Mrs. Gotch, $10. Thank you very much. 45-second opinion on Tyler Boyer. You really want to piss him off before you go?
No, I like Tyler. Y'all are gonna.
That's what I was talking about. I already knew that. Listen, if you want to find out that, you gotta go on my.
Y'all are gonna come for me.
Yeah, watch the live that we did a couple months ago where she goes deeper into Brian Harpole and Tyler.
Dude, I like Tyler. Tyler's fucking awesome, bro. Sorry. Tyler is awesome. He's the best. He's one of my favorite people at Turning Point. I think, he's a genius. He's really smart. I know personally Tyler loved Charlie Kirk. Like Tyler loved Charlie, and I know I've watched everything that Candace has presented about Tyler. I still don't see a smoking gun other than the fact that he knew Erika for a long time before Erika knew Charlie. So I think that's kind
Yes.
of like interesting and probably should be flushed out. But
You're saying
other
your
than that,
personal experiences working with him, he was one of the better ones.
I think Charlie's the best. I think Tyler's the best. I think he's awesome. And I know that he loved Charlie. And I will say this though. Tyler's going to be watching this. He's going to be seeing this. I will say this. I'll say two things. Okay. The first one, 10 days after Charlie, 10 days after October 10th. So was it the 20th? It might've been 20th, 21st. Go back on my Instagram and see, because it's in one of my highlights. So I could check the date on it because I put it in the highlight. But there was a this is our turning point event at Utah State University. They should have canceled it, but they didn't. And it was Tyler Boyer there. Governor Cox? Is that the governor in Utah? Governor Cox, and then the former AG. And he had him sitting on a panel.
Wait, former AG, you talking about state attorney or
the former state attorney of Utah?
Okay, I just want to make sure you're not talking about Pam Bondi.
So that was the event, and I had gone there earlier because I was tabling for Blexit because one of the volunteers couldn't make it or something, so I had to go. And I had a staff badge, so I was there before, and I had walked up to. Oh, you guys are gonna like this one too. So I had walked because I needed to use the bathroom. Now the stage was in the middle of the amphitheater. And so like the amphitheater was cut in half, or the auditorium or whatever, but it was like, it had bleachers that kind of concave down. The stage was in the middle. And then one half of the stage was like where people were going to come sit, where the students were going to come sit. And then behind that was like empty bleachers. And I walk up because the bathrooms were on that side. So I had to cut through like the underground tunnel where the basketball players come out of, I forget what it's called, and then cut up through the bleachers. And I was going to the bathroom. So I was cutting up through the bleachers. While I go to the bathroom, this state officer who was there, this female, her name was Leah. She was a state police officer. She had followed me into the bathroom, and I came out and she was sitting there pretending to wash her hands. She goes, "Hey, do you work at Turning Point?" I'm like, "Yeah." She goes, "Oh, I'm so sorry for everything you guys are going through right now." And I'm like, "Yeah, I know, it's really hard," or whatever. And she was like, "Yeah." And then she brought up the fucking old guy that dropped his pants. Greg, what was his name?
Wait,
the guy that dropped his pants he got shot and said that I did it, and then he got arrested. George Zinn. She brought up George Zinn. And she said, "Yeah, George just ran, she just brought him up to me for some reason." She goes, "Yeah, that George Zinn guy, he was really a weirdo, right? The guy that dropped his pants." And I was like, "Yeah, he is really weird. Don't you think that that's odd?" She was like, "Yeah, he shows up to a lot of protests all the time in Salt Lake, and he's always there, creating a problem. Some people think he's crazy, he's not all the way there." And she was like, "I guess George Zinn is familiar with the police, not only the state police, but also the different local police, because he shows up to protests all the time, I guess." And he both to conservative stuff, with Charlie, where prove me wrong. But then he also will show up to far left protests and stuff in Salt Lake City. So basically what she was saying was the police were familiar with him, but that wasn't the point that I was trying to make.
Okay. Make your point first. And then,
So I was like, "Oh, that's crazy. That's weird." So anyway, after that conversation, I was like, "Thanks for telling me. It's nice to meet you." Leah was her name. So I dried my hands. I walked back down through the auditorium, and Tyler Boyer is sitting on the backside of the stage. So nobody's sitting in the bleachers. He's all by himself. He's sitting maybe 2 or 3 chairs in with his back facing me. So I'm walking down and I see that he's there, and he has his hands in his head, he's grabbing the top of his hair, and you could tell that he was anxious because he was kicking his knee up and down, and he was you could tell he was anxious, reading a text message that was coming in, and he was grabbing his hair. And as I walked down, I go, "Tyler, is that you?" And I reached my hand out and grabbed him by his hand, like to give him some like comfort or whatever. I go, "Are you okay? Is everything okay?" And he was like, "Oh, yeah, everything's fine. Thanks for checking on me." And then that was it. And then I was like, "Yeah, well, stay in good spirits." I said like goodbye greeting like that, and I like gave him a pat on his back, and I kept walking down. So I don't know if that means anything, but I saw that. And then when he went on stage to do the actual like I don't know, not the show, I wouldn't say the show, but like, have the panel discussion with the governor and the former AG, he immediately said that like Tyler Robinson did it, like that he like basically was speaking to Governor Cox as if Tyler Robinson committed the murder, and was saying, now what are you guys going to do about radical transgender ideology in the future? You guys could probably find this on their YouTube because it was filmed. It was the Utah State University. This is our turning point. And it was just, I remember like listening to the way that they're delivering. It just seemed like odd. Like it was like
politicized.
It was politicized, but also like planned almost. Like it was just too... It didn't roll off the tongue organically, I guess.
It didn't feel
organic. It didn't feel organic. It almost like it was like a pre-scripted, like this is how we're gonna pivot the like narrative. Not that I'm not saying that they're intentionally, but it seemed like they're intentionally trying to.
It was a plug.
They're intentionally trying to plug and like bottleneck the narrative to, without a shadow of a doubt, that this is the guy that did it, which is suspicious, right? Because if you wanted to know for real,
you'd be worried about the investigation and not like politicizing and jumping to a conclusion. I mean, this is supposed to be America. It is innocent till proven guilty, right? Like, that's what the courts are for.
But you would care about the details of the investigation. So that was odd to me.
Oh, you mean that the emphasis is what are you going to do now? It's like, are you sure we're going to nail this guy? Like, is that what you're saying?
No. I'm saying like they spun it to politicize like and make it about anti-trans stuff like immediately, and it wasn't like a conversation about actually the details of the investigation and if we're sure, like there wasn't like,
that's what I'm trying to say.
There wasn't like curiosity there. It was like Tyler Robinson did it, absolutely, this is the narrative, and
what's next?
And what's next? Are you going to be harder on transgenderism? Because Governor Cox was notoriously like not hard on transgenderism, like he like kind of was lenient on that, so he was using it kind of, in my opinion, as like leverage, like to kind of push the issue on. And I just thought it was strange that like he was for sure Tyler Robinson did it. And then at the memorial at ASU, not the one at State Farm, he spoke again, and go watch it on YouTube. This is the ASU one. He spoke again, and he immediately made it about politics again. He was like, Charlie would want you to go register to vote. Charlie would want you to make sure that you join a Turning Point chapter. Make sure you join a Turning Point chapter today. And it was just like, it was just short and quick and straight to the point. And I thought that was odd too. And then Erika Kirk spoke at the memorial at State Farm, and she forgave Tyler Robinson. And I was like, okay, why are you guys pushing this issue so much? Like, why don't you just wait why are you guys saying anything? Why don't you guys just wait to the evidentiary hearing and to the trial? And then you get to the evidentiary hearing and you find out that, the defense is trying to get, contempt of court, because Erika Kirk is going and making media tours and crying and saying that Tyler Robinson absolutely killed Charlie. And it's like, it's definite, it's absolute that he did. And then you get governors saying it. You have like the DA is obviously going to say it, but they're not using,
extremely inappropriate.
They're not using the term suspect. They're not using the term alleged. They're not using the term like, probable perpetrator or whatever. They're not using any of those terms. They're saying this guy did it. And that to me is the most,
that was another issue that I had with Megyn Kelly. That was another issue I had with Megyn Kelly, because she was, she's like, he did it. He's guilty. I want the death penalty. I wish I could be there to flip the switch myself. Like, however she worded it. It's not verbatim, but that was pretty much like the message. And it's like, yo, like, you're a lawyer. Like, you're a lawyer. You know what I mean? Like, you know the law. Innocent until proven guilty. You're talking about a 22-year-old. We don't have the facts. There doesn't appear to have been a real investigation. And this is one of the things I was saying last night on my live is if, because I was pulling up clips where Charlie's talking about like Dan Bongino and Cash Patel and Pam Bondi. He's like, I know these people. I trust these people. If Charlie was here today, and God forbid, I'm not going to say any names, but knock on wood, it wasn't Charlie. It was somebody else, one of these bigger names that, what do you think Charlie would say if they were handling someone else's death that he knew the same way that they handled his?
Yeah, no, you would think that it was crazy. I mean, you saw him when we were
I think
talking
he'd be
about
the loudest
COVID.
voice in the room. I think if the roles were reversed, he would be talking about Candace Owens every day on his show. And
He loved
Candace.
He loved Candace.
He did love Candace.
And I know that for a fact because
they all like to try to say otherwise now.
And well, no, he was getting a lot of pressure to brand away from Blexit and to brand away from Candace, and he like fought it tooth and nail. He was even getting like pressure from inside of Blexit to brand away from Blexit.
Charlie did love Candace.
He absolutely loved Candace, and everybody that knew Charlie knew that. So for people to act like to people try to rewrite history, it's ridiculous. Like Charlie fought for Candace and he fought for Blexit tooth and nail, and he loved Blexit because he felt like it was part of Candace. In my opinion, I think that he loved Blexit because he felt like it was, part of Candace was still at Turning Point. I think that was part of the reason why he merged us with them, to be honest with you. So
now, have you been keeping up? Well, I'm sure.
Sorry, I gotta put the fan on. It's so hot.
That's fine. That's fine.
Sorry,
guys, put a 1 in the chat if you've been enjoying the show.
I'm like sweating over here.
God. Oh my God. So do you have, of all these crazy theories that we've seen, the 30-06, the palm gun, the lapel mic, the necklace, the stage? Well, I know you don't think it was staged, but is there one that you're leaning towards right now?
I think it was the lapel mic.
You do think it was the lapel mic. Did you see the pictures that have been coming out and the new pictures that Candace brought out on Friday?
The broken glass.
Yes, and I believe Coach Colin posted pictures today. I reposted it on my ex. I didn't know it was his.
Well, let me tell you another thing. So I went to the crime scene twice. My mom lives in Orem. I told you I went to UVU. So I went to the crime scene twice. One thing the one point that people are missing is that Charlie was in the tent in the outdoor amphitheater, which is concaved. So it's like in the ground, like it's not super, super deep, but it's like, you have the ground level and then you have steps that go down. And Charlie was under a tent in those steps. So like when you're right in front of the tent, you can see Charlie. But if you're on a rooftop with a rifle angled down from like a prune position and you're angling down, you're not going to be able to see Charlie under the tent. You see what I'm saying? Because it's concaved. So if, in my opinion, if somebody really shot Charlie from a rifle, it would have gone through the top of the tent, wouldn't it have? Because if you look at, I actually have a picture.
I was actually thinking about that too, because I was looking at pictures the other day, and like Charlie was sitting on a pretty big platform. Like his chair was on top of a platform. Like you're 100% right. He was pretty highly elevated. And if the person was aiming from a roof.
He wasn't elevated. He was underneath like the ground level because the amphitheater was concaved.
But he was also sitting on, like his chair was on top of something.
I'm trying to find the picture.
Yeah, I don't know how that trajectory would have looked from the roof.
I took a picture of it. I'm trying to find it.
All right, while you find it, I'll read this. I just got another super $20 from Dale. Thank you very much. Welcome back, Lala. Appreciate your candor. Is that supposed to be candor? What do you think of them making a big deal out of calling Mikey McCoy amazing? Gives me the heebies. Yes, that's another theory going around, that Mikey was truly devastated, and that the amazing Mikey McCoy, he was a leader, like trying to talk him up, was, just to, I don't know if it's a manipulation tactic or.
I never thought Mikey was that amazing, to be honest with you. He's kind of like very unrememberable.
Yeah, I can see
unmemorable. He's nothing to write home about. He's not very exciting. When you see him in person, he's just kind of like not very memorable. So I don't know about
what about the famous Blake Neff? Did you have any interactions with him?
No, I never had interactions with him. He always just kind of gave me.
He seems like a
I've,
creep.
I've seen him like at events, and I've seen him from afar, but I never liked his commentary. I always thought that he was, just not
Is
really.
it true that during the election that he said something crazy and they pulled the stream from YouTube or something? I heard that online. I didn't know if that was true though.
He's honestly he always just is like he's very like intolerant, like, which is fine because like I'm intolerant with a lot of stuff too. I don't think we should be tolerating a lot of this like radical leftist stuff, but
No, I don't need.
He's just kind of like an uppity asshole, and he doesn't really have any like rope to be like such a pretentious dude because he's not attractive and he's really not that smart and he's not that impressive. So like I just don't know where this like uppity like personality comes from because like he has nothing to write home about. Like he's not really that impressive in my opinion. Maybe I am the asshole.
I'm telling you, you're like the female version of me. I love it. $10 from Sandy Color. Wait, Color a Do Life? Is that what I'm like so shot? I don't have my glasses on. $10. Thank you very much. Great show, you two. Thank you. Yeah, no, I don't want to say it was off to a rocky start. I think it's been great the whole time. But yeah, we could have ordered these topics a little bit differently, but
yeah, we kind of just like ripped it.
we could have started with Erika.
Here we go. I found it. Hold on. I gotta.
You're looking for something on your phone?
Yeah, I found it.
Okay.
Where is it? Here we go.
There was another question I wanted to ask.
Okay, so this is the Losey Center. Okay, you see, that is the Losey Center. That's where they said that he was on top of right here. So my problem with that is it's like maybe 150 feet from like the base of that over to
and
the
you
top
went to
of
that school, right?
Yeah, I went to that school.
Okay, so you know it pretty well. You're not just referring to pictures.
Yes, that's what I'm saying. It's
okay. It's for people that if they missed it before.
So it's an outdoor campus. There's people walking around always. Even there, even at that picture, it's like, did you guys see this right here? This is a walkway. Right here. This is people walk here to get to classes. On the other side of this, there's whole other area that wraps around the top of the school building. Like it's an outdoor campus. People are walking on these walkways. It's in the middle of the day during class. So the idea that this fucking guy dressed in tactical gear like scaled this building and laid prune and nobody saw him is complete bullshit. And people did see him. There is video camera of people seeing him, but like nobody saw him took the shot. I still haven't seen a camera footage or any video footage of him taking the shot. It's hard for me to believe. It's also hard for me to believe that you can even see Charlie from that angle because he's concaved and the tent is like right above him. So wouldn't he have shot through the tent? If he was from, that's at least what I'm thinking because I went there twice and I'm about to go there next week.
You're saying looking from that angle, you don't see how
looking from that angle, I don't feel like how it could actually have the shot with the tent over Charlie because Charlie's sitting in the middle of the tent. It's not like he's up at the top of the tent because he had like a desk, like a table, an L-shaped table around him where like the producers sit on one side and
that's right. He was in the back of the tent. He was
in the back of the tent behind the table. Remember, the security team had to jump over the table to get him. So my thing is, if you're in the back of the tent's covering you, how does this guy have the angle shot without going through the top of the tent? It just doesn't make sense to me. So yeah, I think it's the lapel mic.
That's a really, really good point. So
I haven't heard anybody say that point yet. Maybe
I haven't heard. That's the first that I've heard that too.
Maybe because they didn't go to the actual.
Well, I'm surprised because there are some content creators. I'm not going to say any names, but there are some that went there and after being there and doing an investigation and talking to the feds, they came back and all of a sudden they were convinced it was Tyler Robinson. Yeah, I swear to God.
The reason why I don't think it's Tyler Robinson is because the bomb dogs. My little sister trains narco dogs and she trains bomb dogs. She's been doing it for like 10 years. And she's told me there's no fucking way the dogs didn't smell the gunpowder on the rifle.
Oh, no way. No way. And now they're trying to say, oh, they were specialty dogs. They weren't bomb dogs. It's like, listen, there's no way. Hold on. This person had a question. Paul M, $2. Thank you. How was Farnsworth right after the 10th and Flood?
I didn't see Farnsworth. I did
What's
see.
What's your vibe at Dan Flood? He's one of those people that I really like wish.
Dan Flood doesn't talk to staff. He doesn't talk to staff.
He doesn't talk to staff. So he's not
really.
like he's detached.
He's talking to like C-suite. He might talk to some of the directors, but like he's just very like, I mean, he was always nice to me. Like, you know, if I had to get in or whatever, he'd always like open the door for me because I was staff or whatever. Like, you know, he was always like cool, you know, but he's not somebody that's like gonna chit chat and like shoot the shit with you. Like he's very stoic. He always has like a stoic face and he is always wearing like sunglasses and he's always like means business. You know what I mean? And then the twins were like that too. But Brian Harpole was a chatty, friendly guy. He was a chatty, like friendly guy. That doesn't mean I'm not saying that he's completely absolved, but like he's not a bad guy.
I think he knows more than he's letting on, to say the very least.
Look, wherever the evidence goes, like I'm going to follow the evidence.
Me too.
I just haven't seen too much. I really haven't seen a smoking gun when it comes to the Fort Huachuca stuff. There's a lot of circumstantial stuff. But I would really like to see more come out of like these Egyptian planes. I haven't heard anything about the Egyptian planes since December. Maybe you can maybe one of you guys in the chat can make me up to date with that, because the last I remember was that Candace got called out on it and then pivoted to Fort Huachuca. And now like the Fort Huachuca story is kind of like what we're sticking with, but I haven't really heard any update about the Egyptian planes. Is that still like legit?
From what I understand, it's legit. Tucker on his show even said that it's it's a very odd story, but that he said he could confirm it, that there were Egyptian planes that were, I think they were following Erika around for years.
But wasn't there like even Alex Jones came on and he had debunked that, and then after I haven't heard or seen Candace like rebuttal or like double down on the Egyptian planes or any of that. So does anyone in the chat know if there was a follow-up? Because the last I heard was that it was debunked and there hasn't been a follow-up. Is that true?
I will find out.
Someone said Joe Kent confirmed it. From what I heard or what I watched and read about Joe Kent was that he confirmed that there was foreign leads that were shut down by the Pambandi DOJ.
Well, yeah, and then Cash Patel.
And
that's another thing. That's what I was saying before. If it didn't happen to Charlie and it happened to somebody that Charlie knew, and Charlie had access to all these people and considered them his friends, how would he respond to something like that? Can you imagine? Again, I'm not going to say names, but imagine if someone else that got assassinated and Charlie's like, hey, Joe Kent, can you give me a follow-up? What's going on? Anything on foreign influence do we know? And he goes, yes, about that. Cash told me to back off. There's out of my hands. Nothing I could do. You know, in my opinion, Charlie would be like, what do you mean? Cash told you to back off? Like, and he'd be calling Cash like, Cash, look what the fuck is going on. That's why when people say that, oh, if they wanted to take someone out, why would they take out Charlie? Charlie was like a hub for a lot of these people. He was like a conduit. He was like a connector, you know? So it's like, if they wanted to silence people, if you just silence one person, if it was one person, and Charlie's still going around doing what he's doing, what do you think he's going to do? He's going to keep speaking up. He's going to get their friends. They're going to make it a whole big thing, and they're all going to be speaking up. They're all going to be asking questions, because that's what Charlie always said. I know TPUSA 2.0, it's like the new motto is stop, just stop. You know, but Charlie, you know, the OG TPUSA, it was keep asking questions. Yes or no? I mean, you would know better than me.
What is the question there?
I'm saying, what do you think? How do you think Charlie would have reacted if it wasn't him that got assassinated, but it was one of his friends, and the case was being handled the way that it's been handled for his? that like there's no Joe Kent's told to back off. Everything's shady. You know, like Lance Twiggs disappears. His family's getting money. He's getting some kind of immunity. Everybody's assuming guilt. Like,
I think he would definitely think it was weird, and he would definitely be asking questions. We saw him do it. Like, we saw him do it with COVID. We saw him do it with October 7th. I just think that he was too far deep in the he was too far deep into it. You know what I mean? Like, he was doing business with the wrong people, I think, in my personal opinion. And I wouldn't necessarily, I didn't work in donation, so I don't know those details, but you know, I do think that he was
that's a whole episode in and of itself.
I think that he was just doing business with the wrong people, and his base was, he was losing a lot of the young men in his base to Nick Fuentes. A lot of them were turning to Nick for coverage of Iran because they didn't trust his coverage on Iran. Nick completely blew him out of the water. And I think that that was a problem for Charlie, because Nick and Charlie have always been, you know, rivals, you know, with the Groyper wars. And, you know, I think, in my opinion, I think that we all saw Nick's generational run last year during the Iran war. And I think that once Epstein hit, like, Charlie had to talk about it. Like, there wasn't any around it. He couldn't appease the donors or he would lose credibility. And I think that's what he was going through, to be honest with you.
Now, you've referenced Nick a couple of times. What's your take on him? Because even the other day, he's coming out saying that he thinks that the left did it.
Look, I'm telling you right now, what I wrote Candace, and I told her this really early on. I said, I think that it was the right. I had a couple.
Are you a Democrat? Just so that we get it on the record, so everybody knows.
No, I'm a registered Republican.
Okay, just wanted to double check on that.
I had a couple theories. You know, I thought that it was either the neocons or it was the Groypers. To be honest with you, it's in Nick's best interest to have Tyler Robinson shut away, because then it'll take the heat off the Groypers. Because remember, there was some article that came out like early on that like Tyler Robinson was a Groyper. And he's not. He's a radical leftist. Like, he's like,
yeah, but there was also they also tried to say that it was Qatar. Like, they were saying it was anybody but, you know.
Right. I agree. I like Nick. I agree with him on a lot of things. I don't agree with him on Tyler Robinson. I don't think that Tyler Robinson did it. Yeah, and when people say, was it the left? Was it the right? What people need to understand, there is no left or right. There is a uniparty, a deep state, a permanent Washington, and they are both Marxists. The neocons are Marxian. They are Trotskyites, which is like Leon Trotsky was an officer in the Bolsheviks. Like, for God's sake, like this idea of like this false dichotomy, this false like dialectic where we actually have options. Like, no, they all come from the same like deep state Marxist cabal. You either get the far left like communists, or you get the neocon Trotskyites, which are Marxists too. So this idea that like there's the far left and the right and the fascists, it's like they're the same thing. They're the same uniparty. They're social liberals that are trying to usher us closer into like a color revolution. And I think that Charlie was marked, honestly, way before Sass. I think he was marked way before Sass. I think he was officially marked after the election in 2024, because Charlie and Turning Point single-handedly won Trump the election. If they allowed Charlie to continue gaining power and momentum after that, there was they would have no control over the elections. They wouldn't control what candidates that he endorsed and what candidates that he would then put his machine behind, which means
we could have ended up with a Thomas Massey for president.
He could have put a machine behind Thomas Massey, and Thomas Massey would have gotten reelected, you know, or Thomas Massey.
Shout out to Ryan Matta, by the way.
So that's why I think that he was moved off the board. Maybe Israel was like the last straw. Maybe Sass was the last straw, but I mean, in my opinion, what I saw after Sass was Charlie really trying to get back into the good graces of his donors by really ramping up the Islamophobic, like Hasbara talking points. I know for a fact that he's the one that set up the influencer retreat in the Hamptons, because I have a lot of friends that went to that. So Charlie set up the influencer retreat. for the same reason why he tapped me to reach out to Matt Nuclear and recruit Matt Nuclear, because he was trying to create a influencer operation that would promote pro-Israeli talking points on the internet and in real life. And he had written a letter to Netanyahu about doing this exact same thing. So that's why I don't agree with that he was leaving the Israel cause. I think that they wanted him off the chessboard because of his electioneering apparatus, because of Turning Point Action. That's my personal point, in that he was endorsing these America First, like anti-establishment, like non-neocon candidates, and they just couldn't have that. That's what I think it really happened. But and you asked me about Nick Fuentes. I like Nick Fuentes. I think he's wrong about this, and I think that he's trying to put it to bed because he knows, he's like, I in my personal opinion, I think that he knows that, if Tyler Robinson gets convicted, it's going to, remove
any potential heat on him.
So in his mind, he's like, fuck it. It's just some like commie tranny kid. Like, let him take, you know what I mean? And that's what I think. And he doesn't have any interest to really find out what happened to Charlie. He fucking hated Charlie, excuse my language, but
no, listen. Sometimes it's like I'm talking to myself. All right, let me see if I got more. All right, Julie Cooksey again, $2. Thank you. Trigger did 3 episodes on the shot. Dogs, I agree. Yeah, I didn't see those. I gotta watch those. Was there another one?
Wait, how many of you guys are going to the pre-trial next week?
Oh, come on, don't make me feel bad. Oh, you know what? I was rattling off names before, and I forgot 2 important ones. Shout out to Brandy, and a special shout out to
What about
Elizabeth.
Tyler B. in the fraud charges? What about Charlie's on video stating his change of heart with Israel?
Lala, I could pull the comments up. Don't worry, you just got to tell me.
Divine Rebel.
All right, hold on. Let me read the super first, and then I'll get it. Dig Deeper Network, $2. Thank you. Invite Trigger onto the panel. Yo, Trigger's got my number. He could hit me up. He could come on anytime he wants. All right, now how?
Yes, I know Tyler Boyer worked in Romania. He didn't work in Romania. He went on a mission.
How far?
For the LDS Church in Romania.
What was the name?
For which one? Get Crunk and listen. Does she know that Tyler Boyer worked in Romania? Tyler Boyer did not work in Romania.
Oh, look at Trigger Smart. He's plugging you right now.
Oh, nice. Thanks, Trigger Smart. Yeah, no, he didn't work in Romania. He went on an LDS mission in Romania. And then Divine Rebel. What about Tyler Boyer and fraud charges? What about Charlie's on video stating his change of heart? Well, I will tell you guys this. There was an audit at, or not an audit, but there was an audit, and then there was a change in like August. We all had to go through this like new training for how to fill out our expense reports. So we all at Turning Point USA had to go through that training and make sure that we did all the expense reports right, because I think that there was something going on in the finance department. And that's all I'm going to say about that. But so that is real, that there was an audit in August. But as far as Tyler Boyer having anything to do with that, I'm not really sure, because Tyler Boyer he's the CEO of Turning Point Action, which is a completely different company on paper. So I'm not sure how much he was involved with the finances of Turning Point USA.
That was something else that we talked about more. If you guys want to get more information, like I said, you go back on my lives. It's a couple months back. You'll see me and Lala on the thumbnail, and she got into the differences between TPUSA, TPUSA Action, TPUSA Faith. She got more into Tyler Boyer, got more into Brian Harpole. She got more into her own history and how she got into TPUSA. So you'll get more of a whole introduction to her. Right. What else did we talk about that day?
Another thing I want to say is about Tyler. Like, we don't know why these people are acting weird. I'm not saying that Tyler's acting weird, but I mean, I definitely am saying that Erika's acting weird, but we don't really know why. It could be that, all the conspiracies are true. It could also be like they have a gun pointed at their head and they're staring down the barrel of a gun too. They might know that they're in trouble too, and their family's in trouble and jeopardy. You have no idea. They could have a gun to their head too. So we have no idea what is actually going on, and maybe they're in trouble too. And they're.
But Erika's mom is as tied up with the neocons as it gets. I mean, let's be real about that. I mean, when her mother, I think, was one of the producers of that little 4-minute documentary that not even documentary, is more of a sales pitch for one of the businesses that she was affiliated with. That's where Erika played like some kind of analyst. She gave like a little speech, and people were like, oh, is Erika in the CIA? It's like, no, like she got casted by her mother. And James E. Woolsey, former CIA director, was also in that documentary. James E. Woolsey was also, when he was former director of the CIA, that was, I believe, between 93, 95, around there, during the same 2-year period that Jeffrey Epstein went to the White House to visit Bill Clinton 17 times. Now, the whole reason he had to leave as director was because there was another, it's a foreign name, I forgot what it is, but it was a really big trader. Like America had like a really big intelligence collapse, and they basically had to clean house. And then that's also why Jeffrey Epstein disappeared for a little while, because they had to ramp up intelligence and security and make sure that there wasn't any more infiltration, which there clearly was.
Again, I'll say that I think that Erika needs to answer for her time in New York, and I think that somebody needs to press her on it. And the fact that
and Romania.
New York and Romania, and I think the fact that she's just been like coronated and can completely like evade any type of like examination or cross-examination on that, I think it's ridiculous. Like Charlie was baptized by fire. He earned his stripes. He faced opposition day in and day out. Like his entire job, the entire foundation of Turning Point is based on facing opposition. Like they are the counterculture. So the fact that not only will she not face opposition, but she's going home from events because the turnout isn't as big as she thought it would be. They're setting up like emotional asset, like productions at the White House communications, where she's like, I just want to go home. And she's crying and running away. Like, lady, you're leading a revolution. That's what Turning Point was. Like, you're leading a generation of revolutionaries. Like, literally one of the first pins that I saw when I joined Turning Point was disobedience to tyrants is obedience to God. That was like one of the pins, like the slogans of Turning Point when I first joined. Like, this is a coalition of like diehard, like red-blooded patriots that, like, what do you mean you're about to cry and run home and say, I just want to go home? And what, you think that a nation of young 20-year-old boys, men, are going to follow you into battle against these communist psychopaths? Like, no, they're not. That's what I don't understand. It's like, it doesn't make any sense. Like, I don't ever remember Charlie Kirk crying and running away and saying that he wants to go home, you know, and then not going to an event. And then some heckler stands up at the young woman.
Says that she's protecting,
she's protecting pedophiles, and then she just goes home right after. Like, okay, like that never happens.
You know what else I found really odd too? When Trump awarded her, what was it, the Medal of Freedom? And then she showed up at TPUSA, and she had everybody line up so that they could walk by and they could look at it. And she even hesitated. She's like, oh, come on over and I'll let you look at it. Like she didn't even let him touch it. She didn't pass it around. She didn't let anybody try it on. It's like, oh, come and look at the shiny thing I got from President Trump. You know what I mean? It's like, it's unbelievable. Unbelievable.
I stopped going to the office because Candace, actually, I think she had just dropped Hell Has No Fury, like a woman scorned. That was like the first one that she dropped. And I was like, oh shit. So we're all like crowded around my laptop, like watching Candace, and everyone's horrified. And they're like, oh, how could she say this? And they're so pissed. Like, they're running, you know, to go tell Alex Clark or whatever the fuck. And I just remember thinking, like, I'm the only person at Blexit that's at headquarters, because everybody else at Blexit works remote. And I was the only one that was in Phoenix, and I was at headquarters like after Charlie died. And I remember thinking, like, this isn't going to be good for me. because because Candace is gonna go hard. Like, even though I don't know Candace, I'm like vicariously tethered to her because of Blexit at Turning Point. So, like I suspected, everybody just just was like just looked at me, and I'm like, fuck, I can't. I'm like, I can't come back here. So I stopped going. I stopped going to headquarters after that. I was just working remotely until I quit.
Have you watched the videos from the other people that had stopped working for TPUSA for one reason or another and spoke out?
Yeah, I mean, there was one girl that got hired like 4 months before, and she worked in donations, and she came out like she was some type of whistleblower, but like she wasn't even really there that long. I don't even think that she like really had that much of an influence or anything. So I mean, you got to be careful because you get these people that don't really like know what they're talking about, or they're just saying things to be sensationalized. And there's a lot of people that are also people pleasers that just want to, they want to give you guys what you want. They want to give you guys the juice and the drama, and they want to, you know, grift and give you guys what you want and be part of the conversation and shit. Like, you got, you know, for me, like, I'm just gonna say what, you know, I'm gonna shoot balls and strikes, and I'm just gonna call it like I see it. If you guys agree, that's cool. If you don't, okay, that's cool. Like, and like, remember, I didn't even like collaborate with you on a lot of the posts. I didn't screenshot anything. I didn't put it on my page or anything like that because I don't want it to be taken that I'm like trying to grift. That's why it's taken me like,
I know, and
7 months to talk.
And you know, because you found me on Instagram, and Instagram is where I have the biggest following. And we talked about that. And I told you, I'm like, you know what? Like, maybe I'll post like one, but I'm not. And it was like months later. I don't even think I posted anything on Instagram when it came out. I think I might have put out one, maybe 2 clips on YouTube of, you know, like shorter clips of the interview after the fact. But yeah, you know.
Yeah. Well, anyway, so yeah.
Oh, we got one more. E-Machine, $5. Thank you very much. Oh, this is a good one. Why did Charlie think he was going to prison if Trump lost? How does TPUSA have nonprofit status? They are political through and through.
Well, first of all, like, Turning Point was listed under Biden as like not a terrorist organization, but like white supremacists. Like, I'm pretty sure the SPLC had Turning Point on their page as like, you know, white supremacist watch, and Charlie Kirk was labeled like a dangerous person and like a white supremacist. And
that's insane.
And I just think that they were like the Biden administration, and that's what I'm saying. The deep state was always after Charlie because of the machine that he built was so sophisticated. He can endorse politicians and then put like an army of ballot chasers behind the candidate that he endorsed. And that is a problem for the deep state when you're trying to throw money to influence an election like they did with Thomas Massie. They can't do that if there's Charlie and he's picking America First.
Yeah, if Charlie's alive, Thomas Massie wins that election, hands down. I don't care what anybody says.
Yeah, so.
I'm driving faster. $5. Thank you very much. Hi, thanks for the hard work. I'm putting this together for us. Chris, hello to the ladies in here. You got anything you want to say before we wrap it up?
Nope. Thank you, guys.
Anybody you want to shout out?
Thank you guys for watching. I know a lot of you guys probably hate me and don't agree with me, and are
I think you will be pleasantly surprised.
I don't know. Every time I looked over, I was like, "Look at her! She won't look in the camera. She's looking away." And it's like, "Yeah, I'm reading the fucking chat."
I keep telling you not to.
She's like, "Oh, she must be lying."
You gotta ignore it.
Ben Shapiro paid her because she's looking to the
right.
right.
Faster. Thank you for the membership. And guys, if you want to support the channel, you could become a member today. You could gift memberships. Make sure you like and subscribe. And yes, I will be doing a members only this week, either tomorrow or the next day. And I will be getting more into this, and I will be spilling some tea. Anything else? Or you want me to close it?
Oh, that's it. I'm good.
Guys, thank you very much. I hope you enjoyed. Make sure you follow Lala. It's Lala the Jedi on Instagram and YouTube.
YouTube, New Black America.
Oh, you don't got your personal yet?
No,
all right.
Not yet.
All right. Like I always say, guys, be kind, be grateful, do something nice for somebody, and I will see you next time. Thank you for joining me. Take care.